quite a bit, but every time I drive, I listen to the radio. Jordan Wilcox. So I figure there's a reason these guys on the radio. So I called them.
Put an end to IRS collection and aggression today.
The amount that the IRS came up with, close to $250,000, and the offer in compromise was about $7,600. That's it.
This is Utah Tax Attorney Jordan Wilcox. Let's solve your IRS nightmare. Visit endtaxworry.com.
Go for it. The outcome, it was worth it. I'm okay.
endtaxworry.com.
My friends at the Western Nut Company, they make holiday gift giving an absolute breeze. Hi, this is Doug Wright, and from beautiful gift baskets and nut boxes to the famous in-house fudge, which is so delicious, and of course the brittles, they've got something for every taste bud. For corporate gift giving, what could be better or easier than going to the Western Nut Company? You can just send them your list, and they'll handle the rest. For nearly 60 years, the Western Nut Company has been a proud Utah tradition, celebrating the season with quality and care and community. And be sure to stop by the downtown store for not only unique gifts, but enjoy the decor, the ornaments, and the music box. The Western Nut Company. More than just the best nut gift boxes in Utah, they are a tradition. And you can also, of course, shop online at westernnut.com. Western Nut for the holidays.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, the slowdowns on the I-15 corridor are easing, but you still have a few pockets where you're below the posted speed limit. One of those areas is northbound I-15, trying to get over the point of the mountain. There is a fender bender there. It's over on the right shoulder, but with the UHP flashing lights there, it just slows everybody down. Also trying to get into downtown Salt Lake, both northbound and southbound on I-15. That's where you're also going to see a little bit of slowing. And Mountain View Corridor has lane restrictions this morning. That is southbound. The right lane is closed between 4700 and 5400 south. So everybody's in the left lane, and that has got traffic at a crawl and really backed up. Home ownership is slipping away in Utah, and young Utahns are being priced out of their own communities. Learn more about Utah's housing shortage and what we can do to begin to fix it at demandmoresupply.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today's high 73, low of 48. We'll get some rain tomorrow morning. It'll be cooler for the rest of the week. Right now it's 57 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So the day after Election Day is almost as fun as Election Day is. It's fun if it's not your name on the ballot. It's less fun if your name is on the ballot. So we have some races that I think are, the spread is so big that we can comfortably say there are winners. And there are some that it may take a little while for the final votes to come in. So I have with me in studio KSL News Radio's Adam Small to walk us through some of those races that stood out. Hi, Adam. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning. So I've been keeping on as many races as I can, but I'm kind of learning today that there are a lot of different races in a municipal election, especially when you live along the Wasatch Front. But there's dozens of mayoral races. Let me kind of start there. And the one of them we've been keeping a close eye on is in Provo, where incumbent Mayor Michelle Kaufusi was running against former state representative Marsha Judkins. Right now, I don't believe the race has been officially called yet, but right now, Michelle Kaufusi is projected to win. At least so far, she has about 160 votes and change.
I don't know. That seems pretty tight to me.
It is pretty tight, but like, I know that especially with the new law that requires mail-in ballots to be in the hands of county clerks by election night, I mean, I'm kind of trying to take that into account too, where like I feel like a lot of the ballots have probably already been counted, though I have been keeping up with the state election website, which is connected to our website, kslnewsradio.com. So if you want the latest votes for a specific race, be sure to go there. I haven't seen a new update yet this morning. I believe all the latest numbers were for about midnight, a little bit after, but that one's a little tight. But I mean, right now that's kind of like it's in Michelle Kaufusi's favor. Just looking over some of the other races, incumbent Sandy Mayor Monica Zoltansky is currently got a pretty big margin there. She's expected to win. Draper City Mayor Troy Walker, a huge margin. That race is pretty comfortably over. But another interesting one was because Riverton Mayor Trent Staggs isn't running for another term. The current candidate projected to become Riverton's next mayor is Tish Baroker. She's got a pretty big margin in that race as well. And then
her opponent was Tawny McKay, right? So the wife of State Senator Dan McKay in that race.
Right.
And he had promised if she won, then he wouldn't run again. So I guess he might run again.
Maybe so, but so far Tish Baroker has got a pretty big margin in that race. It's looking like that's almost wrapped up. But again, I mean, the results of the elections aren't verified. So was it 2 weeks after election day? It's when the lieutenant governor certifies everything. So we obviously got time. Maybe things could swing in some of these. Just a couple other mayor's races. Paul Binns right now projected to win the Lehigh mayor seat. Jared Gray out in Eagle Mountain. And we've been talking about Ogden Valley, too. You got a brand new city up in Weber County.
Yeah.
They're electing their first ever mayor and city council. And right now, Janet Wampler is currently the candidate that's got a pretty wide margin, expected to be Ogden Valley's first ever mayor. And then they have, I believe it's 5 other city council seats that also look pretty well set. But again, I just don't know how many more ballots are going to come in, because with municipal elections, you just don't have high voter turnout.
Right. We really don't. So city council races, are there any that were interesting to you? Tell me about those.
Yeah, a couple I kept an eye. Obviously, we keep an eye on the Salt Lake City Council because we cover so many stories down here with everything happening downtown. There were 4 seats in this election, 3 incumbents. 1 ran unopposed. I believe that was seat 7. I think that was in Sugar House, that district. That one was unopposed, so that incumbent is in. I believe Victoria Petro, her seat, I believe she is currently projected to win that. You've got another incumbent projected, but there is expected to be 1 new member of the Salt Lake City Council next year if all pans out. I believe that is Erica Carlson, is because I believe the last city council member representing the ballpark.
Oh, yeah, that's right. He didn't run again.
Yeah, he decided not to run again. So Erica Carlson right now has got a pretty good margin, expected to be the next Salt Lake City council member representing the ballpark neighborhood. But another one I found really interesting, and you might be talking about this more with Ricky Hatch in the next segment, Ogden City Council, that could look very different next year. Right now, just jumping through notes here, pulling up the candidates right now. Current incumbents, city council members Marsha White and Bart Blair, are currently looking at pretty big deficits and they're staring defeat in the face.
So do you know, like, are there dynamics up there that made people mad at the city council? I mean, is that a response to something that's been happening? Do you know?
I don't know for sure. I try to keep up with Ogden news as much as I can, but it's just,
right. There's 270 something municipalities in the state of Utah.
There's a lot,
right.
but I try my best. I don't know. I mean, it could be. I mean, maybe that could be a follow-up question for Ricky, or maybe someone else in Ogden. But right now, the totals go: Marsha White and Bart Blair, current city council members in Ogden City, are staring defeat in the face. So that could be 2 new city council members there. And then there is a 3rd seat that it was another one where I believe the city council member decided not to run again.
Oh, wow. So
you're looking at potentially 3 new members on the Ogden City Council in 1 municipal election. So that's another one I found very intriguing for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that'll be a change. So some of the races that I thought were interesting, you did mention the Provo one. I thought the Orem one was pretty interesting as well. Orem mayoral race. So the incumbent is David Young, I believe, and his challenger is Karen McCandless. And I think the last numbers I saw, she had something like 57% down in Orem. So, that might look like an upset for the Orem mayor.
Yeah, potentially that too. I mean, I have seen overall, as I've been looking over all the elections, I mean, incumbents still have been, I think, the predominant ones keeping their seats. But there definitely have been some flips. Like we talked about the Ogden City Council, talking about the Orem mayoral race. There are a few that are changing. I mean, it's not the majority, but definitely some races to keep an eye on. And then one other thing I wanted to note we were talking about too, I mean, there are obviously school board races going on right now too. I mean, so many things. My mind's all over the place today. But the thing to know is that obviously we've been talking about the upcoming split of the Alpine School District.
That's right.
Well, this municipal election, voters in Utah County have selected the first school boards for the 3 school district that will replace what is now the Alpine School District. So and the names of the districts could change right now. The current names of the 3 districts are preliminary. I mean, the new school boards actually might expected even in some cases to change them. But right now, Aspen Peaks, Lake Mountain, and then Timpanogos, those 3 school districts now have I was not seeing a ton of close races in there. I might have glossed over one, but those first ever school boards for those new school districts are also looking to be set now too. So if you live in those areas, head to KSLNewsRadio.com, take a look at who's winning those races.
That's where I live, and so I'm in the Timpanogos district, or what will be right now, as of today, the Timpanogos district. One of the things that I think is interesting about those races is that instead of waiting until January to be sworn in, I understand they're going to be sworn in November or so this month, so that they can get to work right away, because the very first order of business that they need to do as a school board is choose a superintendent so that they can get to work and get ready to stand up these new districts.
Yeah. It's I remember I did a story a while back on the Aspen Peaks School District and what the schedule was, and I believe they will, as far as I remember at least, I believe you're right that they will get sworn in a little early, because there's a lot to do when you're setting up a new school district. You got to pick a superintendent, and correct me if I'm wrong, it's starting in 2027 is when the new districts actually.
I think that's right. I said earlier it was 26, but it's not. I think it's 27, 28. But still, not only do you have to get the new superintendent and you've got budget and stuff, but you're going to have to hire teachers. It may be the teachers that are already in the district, but it may not be. And there are more people who work in the districts than just the superintendent, so they're going to get to work right away.
Yeah, and even outside of the teachers and staff, I mean, when you start a new district, you've got so many, overseer positions and office positions, things like that. So yeah, they've got a lot of work to do. So keep an eye out for those developments if you live down.
All right, thanks for joining me. That's Adam Small with KSL News Radio. So before the polls closed yesterday, an AI-generated image popped up on social media claiming to have early results in an Ogden City Council race. We're going to talk with Weber County Clerk when we come back. Thanks for staying with us.
You know what? I think the holidays are the worst time of year for your furnace to go out. What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and every November it feels like people get extra stressed when faced with the need to replace their furnace. The money they've been saving is supposed to go to Christmas, and now they're faced with a choice: Christmas or comfort. This holiday season, Any Hour Services wants to help alleviate some of that stress with our special holiday financing. No money down and no payments until next year. Plus, if you schedule a free estimate before the end of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any full system you buy. And that doesn't even factor in the rebates and incentives you might qualify for. Again, during the month of November, Any Hour Services will give you $2,500 off any furnace and air conditioner you buy. And you can take advantage of our special holiday financing with no money down and no payments until next year. For more details, call Any Hour Services and schedule a free estimate. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
It's the Medicare Advantage annual enrollment period, and Humana knows not everyone has the same needs when picking a Medicare Advantage plan.
Now that I'm retired, I want to enjoy the life I've worked hard to build. So I want a plan that covers me when I'm traveling the country.
Humana has a plan for that.
As a veteran, I want a plan that fills in the gaps my VA coverage doesn't provide, like dental care.
Humana has a plan for that.
I feel good about my health. I just want care and coverage with predictable costs. No surprises.
Humana has a plan for that. With a Humana Medicare Advantage plan, you get coverage and benefits that focus on what matters most to you. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage HMO and PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With the Capital One Venture X card, you earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy. Plus, you get premium benefits at a collection of luxury hotels when you book on Capital One Travel. And with Venture X, you get access to over 1,000 airport lounges worldwide. Open up a world of travel possibilities with the Capital One Venture X card. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Do you spend half your day walking or standing while working? If you have foot, knee, or back problems, the Good Feet store wants to help you like we helped Tony.
Pain that I experience the most is foot pain from being on my feet all day. You're having to kind of talk to yourself through the whole shift, like, I got this, I can do this. Before, I felt defeated, and now it's like, all right, let's go. I'm ready. A whole new life, like sunshine coming on.
And how about working more comfortably, like Dennis?
Working at an amusement park, it's always on your feet. I just couldn't take it, but I didn't have a choice. I just couldn't believe that putting these arch supports in made that much of a difference that quickly. I could do my job and I could take care of my family. I know what my tomorrow's gonna be. It's gonna be positive.
You deserve a better life too. Stop in the Good Feet store today. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Come on, the meeting's already started.
Sometimes it's important.
Last call, boarding gate number 9.
Sometimes it's urgent.
Tripper alarm.
Sometimes it's vital. Hospital treatment within 1 hour of a stroke can prevent lifelong disability. If you notice someone experiencing sudden weakness on one side or having a problem speaking, walking, or seeing, call 911 fast. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
When it comes to vaping, the truth can get clouded. So let's make it clear. Vaping is not safe for kids, teens, or young adults. It's just not.
Because vaping can put microscopic particles into your lungs.
And dangerous things like metals and volatile organic compounds into your body.
And nicotine, the same highly addictive substance found in regular cigarettes.
Nicotine can harm a person's brain development through their mid-20s.
Affecting learning, memory, attention, and impulse control, and priming the brain for other addictions.
Vaping products also come in kid-friendly flavors that can make them appealing to youth.
And many kids also use other drugs, like marijuana, in vaping devices.
With appealing flavors, high nicotine levels, and lots of promotion on social media,
many kids think vaping is harmless, but it's not.
So talk to your kids about the risks of vaping, because when you talk, they hear you.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
The new Inside Sources.
So AI strikes again. Election day yesterday brought another AI-generated image created to mislead voters about election results.
Yesterday afternoon, roughly 5 hours before polls closed, an image started making the rounds that appeared to be results from one of the Ogden City Council seats. But Lieutenant Governor Deidre Henderson flagged it on X as phony, created by AI, pointing out that her office does not post any results for any race until after the polls close in Utah on Election Day.
So we just talked with Adam Small about the races up there, and there are two incumbents who look like they're losing their seats. And I wonder if maybe this AI-generated image was to maybe suppress voter turnout at the last 5 hours. But I have on the line with me Weber County Clerk Ricky Hatch to talk to us a little bit more. Hi, Ricky. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning.
So tell me tell our listeners a little bit about this AI voter misinformation that was out there yesterday.
Well, it sounds like somebody put out a a post on social media that looked like it was an official screen grab from the lieutenant governor's office, and it showed just a massive landslide win from one candidate in a city council race. And it was very quickly identified by someone who said, "Hey, I thought results weren't posted until after polls closed," and they're right. The lieutenant governor's office immediately caught on to that, notified Ogden City, notified Weber County. We were aware within a very quick time. The lieutenant governor was able to put out that post saying, "Hey, this is not accurate. Results aren't posted till 8:30." And then we kind of didn't hear much about it after that because it was noticed and identified.
Yeah, and now it's a moot point, right? Because now the polls are closed and we do have real results.
That's correct.
What can you tell us about turnout up in your area?
Weber County turnout as of last night is about 31%. Now, a ton of people drop ballots in the drop box right before 8 o'clock, and we're counting those this morning. I expect turnout will end up in the high 30% range, 38, 39%.
That actually seems pretty high to me for municipal year. Is that normal for Weber County?
Yeah, for the past 8 years or so, it's right in par. The highest we've had is about 40%. About 12 years ago, before Utah went to vote by mail, our turnouts were regularly in the teens. And so it's quite a bit more than it used to be, but it's about average for the past 6 to 8 years.
Wow, that is good information. All right, what can you tell us about races up there? Some of them are pretty hot.
Yeah, we have some hot races. You already mentioned the races in Ogden. 2 incumbents. Looks like they will be unseated. Pretty decent margins there. The Far West mayor was undefeated, or was the incumbent mayor was defeated, and Harrisville incumbent mayor was defeated. So we've had some upsets with elected officials already in position. Ogden Valley City was kind of the hottest area. Their turnout is over 50% already. And they elected their new mayor. It's a wide margin, so that will likely not change with the additional ballots that came in last night. So it's exciting. We don't really have any races that are nail biters. Everything seems to have pretty comfortable margins that we wouldn't anticipate would change as we do the provisional votes and count these remaining ballots.
So that brings me to just a follow-up question. If you have a lot of ballots that were dropped just before 8 p.m. last night, do you have an idea of when you will probably complete the counting?
It's a great question. We're working furiously to get it done, but we're not rushing anything. We want to still count everything in a controlled, accurate manner. I suspect by the end of the day today, we'll be at 99% of all ballots will be scanned and reported on the websites.
Wow, interesting. I also have a follow-up question about Ogden. So I don't live up there. I'm wondering with the, and maybe you can't speak to this, but were there some controversial issues that are leading to the unseating of 2 incumbent city council members, or is there just general discontent? Do you know?
That's a good question. I didn't follow the races super closely just because we have so many other cities that we had to consider as well. I didn't hear any one particular topic that seemed to jump out. There was concern about development and street maintenance, facility maintenance, law enforcement support, things like that. But I'm not aware of any one kind of big key issue that seems to turn the voters around.
Yeah, interesting. Were you surprised by that?
I was surprised by the margins. Yeah, we knew that those two, particularly those 2 incumbent races, would be close, but the margins were a lot bigger than we thought.
As you look at the news either last night or this morning, were there other races that kind of surprised you?
I'll
put you on the spot.
I have so few kind of preconceived notions when it comes to these because you just never know how the voters are going to behave and what's going to happen. So I was a little surprised by the margin up in the valley in the mayoral race. I thought that would be a lot closer, but that's a comfortable margin right now for the leading mayoral candidate. So really the the thing that surprised me the most was that the margins are a little bit wider than you would have expected in some of these races.
Yeah, I'm always a little bit surprised. So I'm surprised a little bit. Sorry, my friends, with the Orem mayor's race. So Karen McCandless is leading the incumbent by, she's like 53% about. So that one surprised me a little bit, that it was a little wider than I thought it could be. I was a little surprised to see Michelle Randall in St. George is probably going to lose her position as mayor down there. Yeah, it's always, and you know this too, Ricky, it's fun to watch results come in when it's not your name on the ballot.
That's right. Not quite as nerve-wracking when when you're out of the loop a little bit.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Yeah. Do you feel like people are more interested in voting right now? It sounds like you've got great turnout up where you are.
Yeah, it does seem that folks are a little bit more interested. I think that could be carryover from last year's presidential race, because there was, that generated a lot of interest, and because of the redistricting fight that's been going on recently, a lot of stuff in the news. And so people maybe stepped up just a little bit more because they saw political news a little bit more frequently.
Yeah. So we mentioned just briefly at the beginning about this fake results social media post. Are there other AI red flags to watch for in voting? I mean, now it's a moot point, right, for this year, but coming up, we're going to go into the midterms, basically beginning today. Any red flags voters need to watch for?
Really, the key thing is look at the source. If it's not your county clerk, your city offices, or the lieutenant governor's office, then I would suggest really questioning that source and going to the trusted sources, which are your clerks, your lieutenant governor's office, and your cities. It's pretty easy to find the real information there. And also, the more outlandish the post, the more crazy it sounds, the more you should question it and say, well, I'm going to vet this a little bit more.
Yeah, thank you so much. I've been speaking with Weber County Clerk Ricky Hatch on Election Night Fun. All right, so there were some big races nationally, and the Democrats overall did very, very well. If we want to know what that means for the GOP moving forward, stay tuned. We'll have a conversation about it.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour: college students and employees in various jobs are wondering if their degrees and careers are safe in the future with the rise of AI. MIT researcher Isabella Loisa looked into what jobs are at most risk, and she spoke with KSL TV.
There are definitely a lot of changes that are coming, but the best that we can do is kind of be ready. If we just kind of sit there paralyzed in fear, I think that's not going to get us anywhere. We just need to be proactive.
She says positions that involve a high amount of in-person interaction, including teaching and careers in medicine, seem pretty safe. She says jobs that deal with a lot of paperwork are at the most risk. A West Valley farm is asking for those leftover jack-o'-lanterns. Roots Charter High School's farm says they are looking for any pumpkins at any stage of rot because they'll feed the animals. Pigs, sheep, goats, chickens, and turkeys all eat the pumpkins, and the remainder will be used for compost. Anyone trying to get rid of their pumpkins can drop them off at the blue bins outside the farm. Our top national story this hour from ABC News: the Supreme Court today is hearing arguments challenging President Trump's use of emergency tariffs, which the president says he has the authority to do based on a 1970s law. University of Chicago law professor Curtis Bradley says the case could have far-reaching implications for the economy.
The core of their argument is that the imbalance in trade between the United States and other countries has created a national emergency for the economy and for national security, and that these tariffs are a needed response to that emergency and therefore authorized implicitly by Congress in this 1970s law.
The Treasury Secretary is expected to be in attendance while the arguments are presented. Your money at this moment: the Dow is up 48 points. We're at 47,135. Coming up, we've got a chance of rain tomorrow. Warm temperatures today. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 9:32. A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
This is Christian Staples with Arctic Spas. Way back in 1989, I started servicing hot tubs in Park City, and I learned the hard way in the freezing winter in the mountains that hot tubs are not built for Utah's harsh climate. I then found the Arctic Spa, the most northern manufacturer of hot tubs built specifically for the northern climates. Arctic Spas use perimeter insulation similar to your house where the outside walls are insulated. This allows us to utilize the excess heat from the motors to help heat the water and reduce your electric cost each month. Since then, we have sold 10,000 Arctic Spas here in Utah. We've learned that Arctic Spas last longer because they are built stronger. You can just feel the difference. Arctic Spas are easier to fix because we put access panels all the way around the spa, which makes it less expensive for you. Add this to the lower electric bills each month, and you end up with the least expensive hot tub to own over the long term. Arctic Spas with stores covering all of Utah in Salt Lake, American Fork, and St. George, or online at arcticspasutah.com. Arctic Spas, the only spa built for Utah's harsh climate.
This holiday season, give the gift of love that lasts a lifetime with Duke's Jewelers. For over 75 years, the Dukes family has been part of Utah Valley's story, helping yours celebrate life's most cherished moments since 1948. Dukes is more than a jewelry store. They're craftsmen, creating timeless pieces and custom designs that capture the magic of the holidays. Whether it's a sparkling necklace, a custom ring, or restoring a family heirloom, Duke's Jewelers pours their heart into every gift. Because jewelry isn't just about sparkle, it's about love and legacy. This Christmas, make your loved one feel like part of the Dukes family. Find the perfect gift at Duke's Jewelers, located at 220 South Main in Springville, or shop online at dukesjewelers.com. Duke's Jewelers, celebrating love and tradition since 1948.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance supervisor at a manufacturing facility, he knows keeping the line up and running is a top priority. That's why he chooses Grainger. Because when a drive belt gets damaged, Grainger makes it easy to find the exact specs for the replacement product he needs. And next day delivery helps ensure he'll have everything in place and running like clockwork. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And first over to you, Heather.
Our biggest delays right now are in the Salt Lake Valley on Mountain View Corridor. This is southbound through West Valley between 4700 and 5400 South. We do have construction going on there. The right lane is closed, so there's only the one left lane open, and that has really brought traffic to a standstill through that entire stretch. You may want to avoid Mountain View Corridor, use 5600 South instead to get to where you're going. If you're on Bangerter Highway southbound, there's a crash at 5400 South in Taylorsville. That is over on the right shoulder, not causing delays. From Michael McLean's family to your family, see the Forgotten Carols musical with an unforgettable story and songs that are a Christmas tradition. Meet the next generation. Tickets at ForgottenCarols.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Today will be warm, 73 degrees with clouds. We get rain tomorrow morning, and tomorrow's high only 57. Right now it's 61 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So Democrats scored some decisive victories in key races around the country, including a historic win for 34-year-old Zohran Ramdani, the next mayor of New York City. Speaking to ABC's Good Morning America, the mayor-elect talked about his goals now to bring the change that the voters responded to during his campaign.
I think there are a lot of voters for whom the trust comes from the actions that you actually take. Many have have understandably been disappointed by politics and the promises that have been made by many before me. Now my opportunity is actually to deliver.
So his race was not the only one, of course. And I have with me on the line breaking news reporter with The Hill, Ashley Fields. Hey, Ashley, thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Can you run down what happened on the East Coast?
Yes, Democrats won in a number of states and cities, starting off with Mamdani, who in his victory speech credited immigrants and working class Americans in the city for his win. We saw Mickey Sherrill win for governor in New Jersey, and then also Abigail Spanberger in Virginia. And so mainly we're noting that Democrats made inroads with voters ages 18 to 29, and they're hoping to do the same thing next year in midterm elections with this momentum.
So were any of these races particularly close?
I would say the closest race would be in New Jersey. There was a lot of support from President Trump, who was weighing in on behalf of Jack Ciattarelli. However, each of the Republican candidates conceded last night and credited the victors in the races.
So what issues did these candidates focus on? Did all of them in those different states, did they focus on the same thing, or were they focused on other things?
There were a number of issues. I would say Spanberger in Virginia heavily focused on women's reproductive rights, and last night in her victory speech noted that it's one of the only states in the South that has not overturned abortion rights for women, and so that's something that she says she looks to continue to ensure is protected in her administration. She also said she would look to lower costs and protect federal workers, which was a huge issue as we saw Trump administration layoffs earlier this year. Sherrill said sort of the same thing in New Jersey, lowering costs for Americans, whether that be with health care or just strengthening the economy. And Mamdani, of course, said the same thing. One of his main factors on the campaign was creating city-run grocery stores, rent freezes, and free childcare for all.
So is he going to actually be able to deliver on some of those campaign promises, do you think?
Well, as we know, he served as a New York assemblyman, and so he said that there are some things he can enact as mayor, which would be a council of people who determine whether or not the city sees rent freezes. And so he'd be responsible for appointing people who oversee that. So Mamdani seems pretty confident that this could happen as he, heads into his mayorship.
Yeah, interesting. What do you think this means for President Trump, especially looking at 2026?
Well, President Trump, again, is looking to maintain a majority in the House, and so he's really probably going to ramp up his commentary on midterm election races, possibly, doing more to back candidates, might even head out on the campaign trail. We also know that he's going to be, working with these leaders of these states as he continues to enact policies across the country, continues to, quell crime, which seems to be a huge issue for him while working in the White House.
Just to pivot to the West Coast, so in California, Proposition 50 passed, and that was the one where voters were weighing in on this redistricting issue, so giving potentially 5 more Democratic seats to counter, I guess, the 5 seats in Texas. Do you think there will be ongoing efforts to redistrict? We're feels like we're running up against deadline where candidates are going to have to start declaring. Do you think there will still be additional states that are going to look at redistricting?
Yes, we already know that redistricting or efforts towards redistricting have been approved in California and Ohio. Now we're looking to see whether or not Missouri or Kentucky does the same thing. These are other states that have shared their interest in making sure congressional maps are redrawn. And so this seems to be the new proponent ahead of midterm elections, whether it's in favor of the Democratic or Republican Party, as they look to pick up the majority in this next cycle.
So, Ashley, I want to play a little soundbite. This is in Texas. So President Trump wasn't the only one to weigh in on New York, right? So we're going to hear from ABC's Jim Ryan.
I think there are a lot of voters for whom the trust comes from the actions that you actually take. Many have understandably been disappointed by politics and the promises that have been made by many before me. Now my opportunity is actually to deliver.
We have a different soundbite. First,
taking a cue from his political mentor, Donald Trump, Texas Governor Greg Abbott has vowed to impose a 100% tariff on anyone moving from New York City to Texas. After Zohran Mamdani was declared winner of the city's mayoral election, Abbott posted again, "Join me for a moment of silence for NYC." Abbott has not said how his threatened tariff would actually work.
Anyway, so you have a governor of a state saying he's going to impose a 100% tariff on anybody who moves there. Can he even do that?
We shall see. I mean, Abbott has been a proponent of being sort of embattled with New York, especially as, New York doctors have been sending abortion medicine to the state of Texas. And so it seems like they've been in this sort of testy relationship that might continue with his comments from last night.
So look, with your experience watching politics, how would this be implemented? Like, how would he apply a 100% tariff on people who move into the state?
I'm not sure. I would have to look to the future to see how he sort of works to implement this policy. It's definitely something I think would be unprecedented.
Yeah, I'm wondering, like, what do you say? Okay, we're going to double the taxes on your house, or like, I just don't see how that would work. So,
right.
Was there anything nationally that maybe surprised you as you were watching election results last night?
I mean, just, harping back off of Abbott's comments, there was a lot of pushback from the Republican Party, especially with Mamdani and his policies that aim to create sort of this economic freedom for New Yorkers. We saw today that Republicans hit back with an ad blitz against Mamdani. Marjorie Taylor Greene has spoken out against him, and also House Speaker Mike Johnson has said that this is an extremist agenda and has tied House Democrats to some of Mamdani's measures. We've also seen House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries sort of distance himself from Mamdani, saying that he's not the future of the Democratic Party. And so it's very interesting to see a lot of people sort of back away from Mamdani despite the support he's receiving in the Big Apple.
Yeah, that is interesting. So thank you so much for joining me. That was breaking news reporter with The Hill, Ashley Fields. So there, again, as I'm looking at election results that came in last night from across the country, there was, I think, quite a strong message being sent that Democrats, the message was well received by their voters. And I know in Virginia, there were all counties in the state of Virginia moved further towards the Democrats. They all went more blue. And we will see if those national results, if that is a early indicator of what might happen in the 2026 midterm elections. So if you'll stick with us, we're going to be right back with more on Inside Sources, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com. And we're on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. Did you know that we offer 3 distinct styles of gutter protection? Each one meant to handle a specific leaf problem. You might not even know there are different styles of gutter protection, but there are. And if you pick the wrong one, it could be a huge waste of money. Now, the big gutter guard companies won't tell you this. They try to sell you a one-size-fits-all gutter guard. And it could be completely wrong for the amount and types of trees and leaves you have. Not RGS Exteriors. We understand which kind of leaf problem needs which kind of gutter guard. We'll do an in-depth evaluation to assess the types, locations, and numbers of trees in your yard. Based on that data, we match your home to the right gutter guard. So don't risk wasting money on the wrong gutter protection. For a free evaluation and estimate, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsexteriors.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Fresh off its UK tour. Over 200 sold-out performances. The Covey invites you to step back in time to see the true story of the boy band that changed music forever. See The Osmonds, a new musical, in its exclusive North American premiere. A national national theatrical event that starts right here in Provo in March 2026. Go behind the scenes and see the Osmonds as they rise to fame with hits like Yo-Yo, Crazy Horses, and Puppy Love. And see the mistake that brought it all crashing to the ground. A tale of redemption, family, and sacrifice, as told by Jay Osmond himself. The North American premiere of The Osmonds, a new musical, coming to the Covey in March 2026. Presented in cooperation with the Utah Office of Tourism. Get tickets at coveycenter.org.
Hey guys, it's Woodrow from Mint Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with ED? Well, you are not alone, and now there's a real solution that treats the root cause, not just the symptoms. Introducing our Trifecta approach, a breakthrough combination of acoustic wave therapy, hormone replacement, and cryotherapy, all designed to restore blood flow, boost performance, and rebalance your hormones. Whether it's ED or hormonal imbalance, if you're ready to reignite your love life, this treatment helps bring back your energy, your drive, and your confidence. And right now, when you call, you'll receive a free consultation, a blood flow ultrasound, and an intimacy gift. That's a $650 value, absolutely free. And here's the bonus. The next 20 callers will also receive a 5-night stay at a luxury resort in Hawaii just for taking the first step. But you must call now. With 2 convenient locations in Layton and Sandy, help is closer than you think. Call 801-804-8000 now. That's 801-804-8000. Mint Medical Clinic. We'll get you back to mint condition.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
So, you want to be a hero. Here are some ways to get the job. Hunt down that killer shark. Or run into a burning house to save a kitten. Luckily, there's an easier way to become a hero. Call 911 if you see someone experiencing the symptoms of stroke, sudden weakness on one side, or trouble speaking, walking, or seeing. Stroke. Know the signs. Act in time. You'll be a real hero. A message from the National Institute of Neurological Disorders and Stroke.
My name is Dale Pazinski. I volunteer with United Way to help the homeless in my community learn computer skills and build a basic resume. I don't just wear the shirt, I live it.
Give, advocate, volunteer, Live United. Go to liveunited.org. Brought to you by United Way and the Ad Council.
Inside Sources.
So we mentioned earlier there are 2 Ogden City Council members that look like they're going to lose their seats. Also, across Weber and Davis County, voters picked mayors in more than 20 cities, which is really interesting. And there were at least 8 incumbent mayors who decided not to run. So Tim Vandenek with KSL.com is here to talk to me more about Ogden Valley, and maybe Davis County. Hi, Tim. Thanks for joining me.
Yep. Good morning.
Tell me about tell me about Ogden City.
Politics there, probably like most cities, can get pretty contentious at times. A lot of it is related to development and kind of are all would-be developers getting a fair shake to plan and development? Is the city developing too much? Is it doing too much apartments? So those were some of the questions that seemed to undergird, I guess, some of the candidates who were taking on the incumbents. And it looks like 2 of the incumbents will be losing. Marshall White and Bart Blair both had been on 2 to 3 terms each. I don't remember exactly. They were defeated by Alicia Washington and Kevin Lundell, a couple of candidates who a lot of their messages had to do with transparency and just kind of dissatisfaction with how things were going at Ogden City Hall. So, it could be a pretty big, interesting change at how things unfold there at City Hall. And a third candidate, I guess I should mention, there's a vacancy. Incumbent city council member didn't run, and Flor Lopez, who's Latina, kind of involved in the business community, she appears to be on the way to victory in that seat.
So there's a 7-member council in Ogden, is that correct?
Correct.
So you could have 3 new faces there. Was the mayor up for election this year?
No, he was elected 2 years ago. So almost every other mayor in Weber County was up on the ballot this cycle, but Ogden was one of the few that was not.
Interesting. So talk to us a little bit about some of the mayor's races up there in that area.
So there are a few new mayors. Part of it has to do with the incumbents not running. Roy, which is the second largest city in the county after Ogden, they'll be getting a new mayor. Looks like a city council member, Ann Jackson, looks like she's going to win that race. She's leading according to the preliminary results. That city, a lot of development. It's right there by Hill Air Force Base, right along I-15. So they've been doing a lot to try to bolster, create kind of a city center sort of atmosphere, which has caused its own fireworks in that city. But that's what the new mayor there will be getting into. North Ogden also getting a new mayor. The incumbent, Neil Berube, didn't run. Ryan Barker looks like he's going to win. He's a member of the city council and also with Dave Davis Fire District, deputy fire chief up there. They're, like all cities around here, development is a big issue. And one thing interesting about North Ogden is, at least from my perspective, watching it, is the development up the mountain, because that's one of the few places they have left to grow. And that was the site, if you remember, over the summer of that big fire that threatened but didn't damage kind of a high-end neighborhood in the city.
Yeah.
Those few other smaller cities, Marriott, Slaterville, Plain City, Pleasant View, again, incumbents decided not to run again.
Yeah. One of the races that I thought was interesting, and it wasn't actually a race. So in Bountiful, Kate Bradshaw will become the city's new mayor. Mayor Harris, Kendallin Harris, didn't run again, but she was unchallenged. Were there other races where there just wasn't a challenger, and so we already knew who the mayor was going to be?
Yeah, and if you look at a lot of the Davis County races, they did have challengers, but the incumbents won very comfortably, which, not a lot of change there in Davis County, which tells me people must be satisfied with how things are going, or Clearfield, Mark Shepard, looks like he's going to win. Farmington Mayor Kaysville, Layton's the biggest city there in Davis County. Joy Petro was winning comfortably. Kaysville Mayor Tammy Tran winning comfortably. It just looks like, I don't know. I hate to read what people think, but they must be doing something right to be winning by such wide margins.
Well, it seems typically incumbents do well, right? You have to be pretty dissatisfied to be able to say, okay, wait, I'm ready for a change. So when you see incumbents get defeated, that's what surprises me more than incumbents winning re-election.
Right, and it looks like Clinton was the one exception. The challenger is leading the incumbent Mayor Brandon Stanger by 72 to 28 split. So, and honestly, I'm not sure what exactly the issues are there. I know that, like all these cities, development has been huge there. There was a big dust up in Clinton about a townhome development that got a lot of grassroots people involved in trying to get the city to reverse that. And actually, one of the the citizens who was involved in that, who kind of led that effort, was elected to the city council in Clinton. So, maybe some of the development issues again are coming to play there in Clinton.
Interesting. You mentioned, you've mentioned several times the development. Is your take really that many voters are less favorable towards development?
It's complex, but development just seems to be one of those issues that always gets the most attention. This 3-acre plot of land, townhomes are going in or apartments are going in, and fairly or not, sometimes people just are critical of this new development going in, though sometimes because of zoning rules, city officials don't have much leeway. But I think there's a sense among some that city elected officials maybe should push back on development and, not provide incentives maybe, or reduce incentives, and maybe just be a little bit more demanding. I'm sure the elected officials would say, well, we are holding them responsible, but I think there's a sensation that, you see it at the state level with developers in the state legislature, that developers just have too much power and are kind of getting what they want. And so, you do see a lot of grassroots pushback against that.
Yeah, that's interesting. It's interesting to me because we hear so often how dire the housing shortage is in Utah, and how we need affordable housing, and how we, I think the number is we need an extra 850,000 housing units in the next 20 years or something. And yet when people try to do that, they may lose their seat over it.
Yeah, I know. It's like this. You see it all the time. It's like, I still don't know how you reconcile that, because you just see it over and over. People complaining, why are they allowing this new apartment complex in? Where are the single family homes? And then, we don't have enough housing. We don't have enough housing. It's a contradictory sort of argument.
Yeah, it is. So thank you so much for joining me, Tim. That was Tim Vanden Ack with KSL, just talking about more of the races up in northern Utah. I did have a texter say that there was no challenger to the Linden City Mayor, Carolyn Lundberg. We all know she's excellent. So congratulations to Carolyn on extending or winning another term without a challenger. So, if you want to weigh in on any of the elections, both locally or nationally, just text us 57500 and I'm likely to read your text on air. But when we come back after the break, we're going to talk about a new record, but maybe not one that we should be proud of. We're now in the longest government shutdown on record, and we'll talk with congressional correspondent Cami Mando on the latest when we come back.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour. Just moments ago, we got an update from Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear on the UPS cargo plane crash in Louisville. He says the search for victims continues, but they have updated the number of people found dead.
As of this time, we can confirm that there have been 9 fatalities, but I'm now fairly confident that that number will grow by at least 1. We hope it doesn't grow by too many more.
He says they should be done with their search of the area later this afternoon. The plane crash impacted 2 businesses as the plane full of fuel burst into flames when it hit the ground shortly after takeoff. Utah Senate Democrats are calling on state GOP lawmakers to act quickly and help fund SNAP benefits for Utahns in need. The 6-member Democratic caucus sent a letter urging Governor Cox, House Speaker Mike Schultz, and Senate President Stuart Adams to call lawmakers into a special session to use the state's rainy day fund to make up for missing benefits. A well-known Utah Democrat wants to return to Congress.
Ben McAdams is the most recent Utah Democrat to serve in Congress from 2019 to 2021, and now it looks like he's running again. In a message sent to a small amount of supporters, the Salt Lake Tribune reports he has opened tickets for a formal campaign launch on November 13th, after filing his statement of candidacy last month. Tickets to the launch campaign cost anywhere from $1,000 to $7,000. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Your money at this moment. The Dow is up 160. We're at 47,245. Coming up, one more extra warm day. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
At Common Spirit Health, we know that lifelong health and well-being starts with primary care. So we have doctors and providers who see you, hear you, know you, and understand you. Because understanding you means understanding your needs. And that leads to a deeper knowledge of the prevention, wellness, and treatment options that may be best for you. It's primary care that treats your whole family like family. It's primary care with human kindness. Discover all the ways you can find and connect with a primary care provider at mountain.commonspirit.org.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Most folks wait till January to say, I should probably fix this or do something about how you feel. But you know what? You're going to go into 2026 with the resolution already done because Soda helps you lose the weight now, so your New Year's all celebration.
You and I both started our Soda weight loss journey in October and November, right? And I loved going into holiday parties knowing I had a plan. It wasn't just, I'm going to try not to. It was, this is my plan, because I've spoken with a nutritionist and I get a jump start on that, first of the year goal by beginning Soda weight loss right now.
Yeah, there's no guesswork. You're supported every step of the way, and you need that. And right now, there's an amazing offer from Soda for you and your partner. You join, and your partner joins for free.
So why gain 20 pounds just to lose it in the new year? Go to Soda Weight Loss today and begin today.
That's sodaweightloss.com, SOTA weightloss.com, because Soda is, say it with me, Amanda,
state of the art. Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And back to you, Heather.
Well, the only delays you're going to encounter right now across the Wasatch Front are where we have road construction happening. And the worst of it right now is Mountain View Corridor southbound. This is between 4700 and 5400 south. Only the left lane is open in that stretch of roadway. And so it is creating just a traffic jam and crawling traffic. You may want to avoid Mountain View Corridor through West Valley City right now. Take 5700 west instead. You can get back on Mountain View at 5400 south to continue southbound and avoid all those delays. We do still have a minor fender bender on Bangerter Highway. This is southbound at the top of the on-ramp from 5400 south in Taylorsville, and that's over on the right shoulder. Join the KSL Real Estate Show at a special time this Saturday, 6 a.m. before BYU pregame show. The latest on Wasatch Front real estate this Saturday morning from 6 to 7. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We should get up to 73 degrees today, but then we get rain tomorrow morning and cooler temperatures starting tomorrow. Tomorrow's high only 57. Right now, though, it's 62 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So I am Holly Richardson, and Greg has the day off today. But look, this is what I often do with Greg. We're number one. But it's actually not a good thing because we just hit the longest shutdown of the U.S. government in history. We're day 36. And this morning, at a breakfast for Republican lawmakers in Washington, President Trump urged them to end the filibuster and reopen the government.
We must get the government back open soon and really immediately. We have to get it up. We have the hottest economy we've ever had.
So he also said if they didn't reopen it, they'd never get anything done. So I have with me Cami Mondo, congressional correspondent for the Deseret News. And Cami has been following this shutdown from day one. We're now on day 36. Hi, Cami.
Hey, how are you?
Good. I think you maybe have joined us 36 times. Maybe not. So is there any hope on the horizon for the government reopening?
You know, there's a little bit of a weird energy here on Capitol Hill this morning, just because, you are seeing Democrats coming off of election wins last night. So they're feeling pretty bullish that voters might be on their side. They're kind of saying that voters are telling them not to cave in on this shutdown, to keep going with these health care demands. But you're also seeing Republicans now starting to open up to what Trump is saying about the filibuster, which, if that could happen, it's still a little bit unlikely. But if that happens, that could completely change the landscape of the shutdown.
So if they were to vote to end the filibuster, so they need 51 votes then to pass something, I'm wondering what that actually would look like, because as I understand it, the continuing resolution would end on November 21st anyway. Are they just would they pass that one? Would they pass something completely different? What have you been hearing?
The indication is that Republicans have largely agreed that they do need a new CR with a later date. So it's likely that even if they did go through with overturning the filibuster, that could take maybe even a week or two anyway. So you'd be right up against that November 21st date. So we would likely see a CR with a new date, but that would be pretty easy to change. It would just need to go back to the House, where Republicans also lead. So there is a pathway there, although, again, the idea of overcoming the filibuster, completely changing that rule, hasn't been totally sold yet.
Yeah, I'm hearing that too, even from, I think, Senator John Curtis from Utah posted on X yesterday that he was not a fan of getting rid of the filibuster. And I think people, when they talk about that, it's like if you do it one time, then when you're no longer in the majority, you have opened the door then for now the Democrats to say, okay, well, we're going to pass our agenda and we'll do it with a 50 plus one majority.
Absolutely. And I actually just caught up with Senator John Curtis about 10 minutes ago, because Donald Trump during their breakfast this morning was hammering the filibuster, telling them that he wanted them to overturn this. I just asked Curtis if that swayed his opinion at all. He told me straight up, no, this does not change his opinion. The filibuster is an important safeguard, especially, for in the future if they do, as you said, go into the minority instead of majority.
So do you think that there are any Democrats that are starting to say, hey, we've got to be able to come together and maybe they'll, quote unquote, cross over and support the Republican proposal?
There is a sense that, Democrats are getting a little bit restless. We did see yesterday when they met for their weekly lunch, it lasted about 2.5 hours as Democrats were kind of talking about the different compromises and options that Republicans are putting on the table. You're seeing a lot of Democrats who are usually pretty chatty in the hallways get a little bit quieter. So there is a sense that some are getting a little restless. Depending on what Republicans can offer as a final deal, we might see at least 5 or 6 want to cross the aisle.
And that's how many they need, right?
Correct. Yeah, that's all they need just to finally get this CR passed.
Yeah. I have this article that I saw yesterday, and it's really, I think disturbing is probably the right word to say. And I'm wondering if you have heard anything about this. So this is a Washington Post article, and the administration hints that furloughed workers may not be paid after the shutdown. So apparently they sent something out that said, basically the people who are these exempt employees, they're entitled to receive payment once the continuing resolution is enacted, or they have some kind of a budget bill passed, which seems less likely than a continuing resolution. Have you heard any rumors at all on the Hill about how this would go over to not pay furloughed workers?
There have been legal questions, and this was part of the conversation when the shutdown first began, but it's kind of taken a pause since then. But now that we're getting a little bit closer, it's coming back up. But there are, legal questions that have been raised by the Trump administration, by Republicans, saying, well, maybe we don't have to pay these workers who we sent home and aren't working. Basically, a bill that was passed in 2019 after the last longest shutdown that we had. They did guarantee back pay for furloughed and essential workers. But Republicans and some legal experts working with the Trump administration now say that it doesn't necessarily cover the furloughed workers, but it is a lot of legal jargon. I'm sure it would go through a lot of legal fights in the courts, but that is a conversation being had.
Well, I know that you report, but that has to be something that is not landing well with furloughed workers.
Absolutely. And I think that even has led to, and a lot of people are kind of assuming that, in Virginia, where we have several of these federal workers who have been furloughed, that could have caused why there was such a Democratic sweep in their elections last night.
Yeah, for sure. I have some family members that work for the federal government, and I just, can you take a hit of 6 weeks of just saying, look, here I am trying to be a public servant working for the government, and now you're not going to pay me.
Right. And politically, it does look really bad, for Republicans, who are in charge of the government. There are arguments that both parties right now are keeping it shut down, but it would look really bad to have these workers who had nothing to do with the shutdown now not get paid for a month and a half, maybe even longer, for something that was not their fault.
My goodness. So you also, one of your articles talks about Senate Majority Leader John Thune indicating that maybe there's a deal right around the corner. Do you feel like after the election, maybe that's more tenuous?
There is a sense among some Democrats that now they don't need to come to a deal, or maybe they could even push their demands farther just because it did seem like voters are resonating so much with it. You're seeing senators, Chris Murphy from Connecticut, or even Bernie Sanders this morning was saying that when you are winning and when your message is winning, that's not the time to cave. And so it could be a little bit of a question now if Democrats even want to take a deal on the table, if voters, admittedly in blue areas, are resonating with this message.
So I think if I understand correctly, the Senate has taken 14 votes. They've all failed. Is there another vote scheduled at this point?
For today, it's not on the schedule so far. That could change at any point, but for right now, it seems like they're only taking unrelated votes this afternoon while they continue these bipartisan talks.
Wow. Thank you so much. That's Cami Mondo with the Deseret News, who's giving us an update on day 36 of the shutdown. And maybe what little hope we had is fading. I don't know. We'll see. All right. Utahns are stepping up in numerous ways to help people facing these uncertain and sometimes scary times. Utah Senate Democrats are calling for a special session. We'll talk to Senate Minority Leader Luz Escamilla when we come back about what they're asking for. So we're coming to you live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
As the temperature sinks a little lower and the wind blows a little harder, next thing you know, the winter cold is going to be seeping in through your old drafty windows. So now's the time to call Advanced Window Products for custom-crafted, state-of-the-art windows that'll seal up your house and cut your heating bill. Get on their schedule before winter, and not only do you get factory direct pricing far below what the big-name companies charged, but Advanced will knock an extra $2,500 off your quote. They'll create beautiful double-pane windows windows with insulated frames, any style, any color, and the security features to keep your family safe. You'll get a lifetime warranty from a local company in business here for 39 years. Financing? 60 months, 0%. Or even buy now, pay later. So make the call. Seal up the house for winter with $2,500 off on 10 windows or more. Call for a quote, 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does it feel like someone's stabbing a knife into your heel? Or does your lower back give you problems as the day goes on? The Good Feet store wants to help you, like we helped Ann.
Every time I stood up, pain just shot up my legs. Fortunately, I found the Good Feet store. I went to them after my doctor diagnosed me with plantar fasciitis. And now, thanks to the Good Feet store, I'm 100%.
Wouldn't it be nice to get back to doing what you love, like Patrick did?
I was in constant pain. Somehow my fiance and I found our way into the Good Feet store. Put my foot on the arch support system. I put them in my shoes, my back, my knees, my ankles. Thank you. Thank you, everybody at the Good Feet store. You gave me my active life back.
Learn more or schedule an appointment at goodfeet.com and come in and get your free personalized fitting at the Good Feet store. We have locations in Farmington, Riverton, and Sandy.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Attention Jazz Nation. The long wait is finally over. Mountain basketball is back and better than ever. Let's go! All tickets are on sale now, and you won't want to miss the action. Jump on the opportunity to watch your favorite players live and in person. Whether you're after season tickets, mini plans, or single game matchups, the Utah Jazz has got your back. There's a plan for every fan. Don't miss out. Secure your seats today and be part of the excitement all season long. Let's go! Visit UtahJazz.com today. Pacific Corp is hosting a virtual public open house meeting to discuss a proposed 45-mile transmission line in southern Utah Valley that will span from Spanish Fork to Eagle Mountain. The meeting will take place on November 10th from 6 to 7 p.m. on Zoom. The proposed transmission line will improve system reliability for customers, meeting increasing electrical demand in the region, and connect additional energy resources. Get details and learn more at pacificorp.com/Spanish Fork.
Hey guys, it's Woodrow from Mint Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with ED? Well, you are not alone, and now there's a real solution that treats the root cause, not just the symptoms. Introducing our Trifecta approach, a breakthrough combination of acoustic wave therapy, hormone replacement, and cryotherapy, all designed to restore blood flow, boost performance, and rebalance your hormones. Whether it's ED or hormonal imbalance, if you're ready to reignite your love life, this treatment helps bring back your energy, your drive, and your confidence. And right now, when you call, you'll receive a free consultation, a blood flow ultrasound, and an intimacy gift. That's a $650 value, absolutely free. And here's the bonus. The next 20 callers will also receive a 5-night stay at a luxury resort in Hawaii just for taking the first step. But you must call now. With 2 convenient locations in Layton and Sandy, help is closer than you think. Call 801-804-8000 now. That's 801-804-8000. Mint Medical Clinic. We'll get you back to mint condition.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Are you thinking about buying medicine online? A search for online pharmacies yields more than 20 million results. But which ones can you trust? Medicines bought from unlicensed online pharmacies can be dangerous. You may get a fake drug, your condition may get worse, or you may experience a bad reaction. Don't put your health at risk. To learn how to find an online pharmacy that's safe and legal, visit fda.gov/BeSafeRx. A message from the U.S. Food and Drug Administration.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
At Social Security, we are always thinking of ways to save you time and make things easier. That's why we created My Social Security. Opening a My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal record and interactive tools tailored for you. You can see if you are eligible to receive benefits, view spousal benefit estimates, and compare retirement benefit estimates at different ages or dates when you want to start receiving benefits. Already receiving benefits? Use your account to change your address, set up or change direct deposit, get a proof of income letter, and more. In most states, you can also request a replacement Social Security card. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security, securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
And expanded Inside Sources.
So, Utah Senate Democrats are calling on Governor Spencer Cox and legislative leadership to convene a special session to appropriate some of the state's rainy day funds to support people receiving SNAP, Utah families. And I have with me on the line Senate Minority Leader, Senator Luz Escamilla. Thanks for joining me, Senator.
It's always a pleasure, Holly. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes. So I wonder if you can tell our listeners, first of all, what you're asking for and why does this need a special session?
Yeah, thank you. And so, as you know, I think there's been a lot of efforts to try to figure out what are we going to do. Both, all the legislature in general, but our leadership teams have been working, and I'm so appreciative for the governor and the majority with, a solution they brought up as they were trying to figure out, allocating those $4 million to the Utah Food Bank. What we're asking here and why the timing, right, because it's evolving, is that decision that was made from the court ruling asking the Trump administration to release the $4.65 billion to SNAP emergency funds. That partially funds the families that we're helping in Utah, which is, the 89,000 people that are SNAP recipients. So what we're asking, and I'll get into why a special session, is that we use a rainy day fund and fund the difference. So we keep those families whole and make sure that at least for the month of November, while the federal government and Congress gets their act together, because I recognize this is an issue of their situation and it's impacting everyone, that we keep the families whole, and also our businesses that are, providers of food for the SNAP recipients, they can continue to work. And I'll tell you why I think is rainy day fund and a mechanism using the EBT cards the best approach and more fiscally responsible way, is that in order to tap any of our funding, the legislature will have to be calling into place a special session, because it is obviously using state funds. And I want to be very clear, the ask is to use state funds. Rainy day fund is for emergency in the state. I believe this family is not having access to food and their children. It's an emergency, and we should tap into this. We're also very clear in our request that we do it through the EBT mechanism, meaning the EBT card is basically a debit card, and that's how SNAP recipients receive direct deposit of their resources, and then they can work with the providers or the stores that have been working with them all this time to utilize those SNAP resources. I also want to raise awareness that we're also going to be hurting a lot of our local producers that provide and sell food to SNAP and businesses. So I think there is so much, at risk right now if we don't help and keep these families whole as much as possible.
So I see in your press release that you say food is not a privilege; it's a basic human right. Is that something that you're getting pushback on?
I think most of the where we are right now, Holly, and what we're hearing is, look, this is the federal government's problem, right? And again, believe me, and I run for Congress, so I try to be part of the solution before, right? I just think at this point when we're talking about the very basic need of food, there needs to be, I think, a universal understanding that we're not. This is an emergency. These are people's lives and children. So we want to make sure people understand. These are not people getting, this is not a privileged situation. This is about food, and especially there's children. I mean, the vast majority of the recipients are children. How do we make sure that they're not paying for whatever, political crisis we're going through as a nation, that we figure out how to keep them whole in terms of the very basic need of food?
So one quick question before I let you go. I know you've got a meeting to run to. I know that there are a lot of efforts, we've been talking about it a lot on Inside Sources, to support the food bank. Do you think that if you can't get this special session to be called, is the food bank going to be able to step up and meet those needs?
So thank you for saying that, because the food bank is such an incredible, important organization in our state. And by the way, philanthropic community has also jumped in, and my conversations with them is saying, look, we want to do more, but we need a pathway that makes sense. They want people that are the SNAP recipients to be the ones getting the help. The way to do that is through the EBT card. But to your point, if we don't get support to move forward with a special session to actually allocate this, and again, I think there is a will in the state of Utah. This is the Utah way. We figure this out together as a community, that we don't leave anyone behind. That obviously the Utah Food Bank and all the food pantries and food banks across the state are doing everything, Holly. But my concern is, how do we make sure we don't lose those 89,000 people? We have a mechanism with an EBT card. It's a debit card. We all use those when we go to the store. And it has restrictions. It has all the process of a SNAP program that I think that's, to me, the best and most effective way of getting the resources to the people that need it the most.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. That was Senate Minority Leader Luz Escamilla. We also reached out to the governor, President Stuart Adams, and Speaker of the House, Mike Schultz, and we received a statement from them, and this is what they said. Congress created this crisis, and Congress has the solution and responsibility to resolve it by prioritizing the American people over politics. The state is not structured to bail out Washington, nor can it sustain or fund federal programs. Rainy day funds are intended by law to provide relief during natural disasters and severe economic downturns, not to compensate for dysfunction in Washington, D.C. Using state funds to compensate for federal inaction would rapidly drain reserves and undermine Utah's long-term fiscal stability. Congress is playing politics with people's livelihoods, putting working families, veterans, and essential personnel at risk while leaving critical services unfunded. Utah is taking action by committing up to $4 million to local food banks to ensure Utahns continue to have access to essential food support. And yesterday, while we were on the show, we were joined by Representative Ariel DeFay, who was talking about Utah's Week of Giving, where they're trying to raise an additional $50,000. She's working with political and business community members, trying to raise money for the food bank. She told us that $1 donated to the food bank equals 3 meals, right? So whether the special session works out or not, there are definitely ways that Utahns are continuing to step up as the shutdown is now in record-breaking territory. So one of the other areas impacted by the shutdown is air travel, and U.S. Transportation Secretary is now warning of, quote, mass chaos if the shutdown continues. We're going to be joined by the Salt Lake Airport's executive director to check in on how the impact is hitting the Salt Lake City Airport. Stay with us.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Amanda Dixon. Our top story this hour. The number of people killed in the Louisville, Kentucky cargo plane crash is now at 9. Governor Andy Beshear says they know of at least one more missing person, and they hope to finish up their search of the impacted area this afternoon.
2 businesses were directly impacted: Kentucky Petroleum Recycling and Grade A Auto Parts. Thankfully, a local restaurant that is right there that we had great concern would be impacted and we would lose whoever was in it, was missed.
The UPS plane burst into flames shortly after takeoff and was filled with fuel as it was heading to Hawaii. Investigators say a missing California girl was last seen near the Utah-Colorado border. Law enforcement officials say the 9-year-old has been missing since last month and was on a road trip with her mother. Her mother returned home without her and has been uncooperative with detectives since. Investigators believe she traveled through Green River and Panguitch, Utah. Anyone with information is encouraged to contact the Santa Barbara County Sheriff's Office. The Highway Patrol is trying to figure out what caused a woman to drive onto the shoulder of the road at the point of the mountain overnight and slam into the back of a dump truck pulling a flatbed trailer. The woman died at the scene. The driver of the dump truck was not injured. Your money at this moment right now, the Dow is up 308. We're at 47,393. Coming up, we've got some weather whiplash in store. KSL Weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32. Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
I'm Maria Chaleos, and I'm here with Angela and Jeff. They are also clients of Salt Lake City Fat Loss. You guys look great.
Thanks.
We're glad to be here. Tell me how much weight you've lost and how long it took.
36 pounds in the 60-day reduction phase, and I've lost an additional 6 pounds on maintenance. So 42 pounds total so far.
And I've lost 59 so far.
Tell me what changed about your health with Salt Lake City Fat Loss.
I immediately started sleeping better. I also quit craving things late at night that I knew were sabotaging my diet.
I don't have to take a deep breath to tie my shoes anymore. And I can actually stand up after I've been kneeling on the floor without feeling like I was going to pass out.
What would you tell someone who is like you and is thinking about losing weight with Salt Lake City Fat Loss?
Don't wait another day. This plan will change your life.
Learn the secret of losing up to 1 pound of unhealthy fat per day and start your own success story at slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
Results may vary.
Hey, get in. What? Who are you? I'm future you. Constipation with belly pain still coming back? Yeah. Mia, our doctor figured it out. She said it's irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C, and Linzess could help you get ahead of it.
Linzess linaclotide is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. It's not a laxative. It's a once-daily pill that helps you get ahead of your symptoms. It's proven to help you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 2. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. Talk to your doctor and say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS.
This holiday season, won't you help us by bringing joy to a young child? It begins with the Children's Center Utah's Hope and Healing online fundraiser. Now through Thursday, your donations will support essentials for therapeutic work, including tools, play materials, books, and art supplies, so children can better express emotions and heal. Your contributions will be vital. Local foundations and individuals are matching donations so that every gift will have maximum impact. It's 90 hours of giving to raise $90,000, which will provide 90 children with 4 sessions of family therapy. You can even make your gift in honor or in memory of a loved one or family member. Plus, the giving doesn't end when the 90 hours are over. The Children's Center Utah welcomes donations of winter clothing, diapers, and formula to support basic needs for families who struggle to afford essentials during these holiday months. Visit childrenscenterutah.org. Help a family this holiday season. The Children's Center Utah, where hope and healing happen.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. And here's Heather Kelly.
Well, the lane restrictions are still in place on Mountain View Corridor southbound, but they've switched. Earlier, the right lane was blocked and the left lane was open. Now the left lane is blocked and the right lane is open, but it's actually cleared out all the delays. So that's a little interesting depending on what lane is blocked. Depends on how much backup you have. So right now you've got a really nice drive on all the roadways throughout Utah, Salt Lake, and Davis counties. No accidents reported on city streets or major freeways. So if you're trying to get somewhere right at the moment, you shouldn't have any problems. Renew your smile with Grandpa's Dental. Grandpa's Dental offers cosmetic and routine dentistry. Visit grandpasdental.com for a location near you. That's grandpasdental.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
We have a big change in the weather in store. Today will be in the mid-70s, but we get scattered rain showers and highs only in the 50s tomorrow. Right now it's 64 degrees. I'm Amanda Dixon from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So, I am Holly Richardson. Greg Skordas has the day off, but I wanted to talk about the government shutdown affecting air travel, and I want to hear from you. Has your airport experience been different recently? You can text us 57500 and we can talk about that. But KSL TV's Dan Rascone has more on this story.
Not a bad time to travel through the Salt Lake International Airport, but in other parts of the country,
How long have you been waiting? 2.5 hours.
long lines and frustration.
That's almost 3 hours. Yeah. That's crazy.
The Department of Transportation reporting 46% of air traffic delays on Monday were due to staffing issues. And if the shutdown continues into next week, the Secretary of Transportation warns
you will see mass chaos, you will see mass flight delays, you'll see mass cancellations, and you may see us close certain parts of the airspace.
I think mass chaos is concerning. So I have on the line with me Salt Lake City International Airport Executive Director Bill Wyatt. Thanks for joining me, Bill.
You bet.
What is your first response when you hear Secretary Duffy say mass chaos?
Well, I think it is a reminder that this is a national airspace, actually an international airspace, but to the extent the shutdown is having an impact, if there is trouble in one place, there's trouble everywhere, because if you're flying from Salt Lake to Newark, but Newark is closed, you're not getting on the airplane. And so trouble anywhere is trouble everywhere. We have been fortunate here so far and haven't had really significant call-outs, but I don't know that can last much longer, because really, at the end of the day, people have to eat. And if you haven't been paid for some period of time, it's tough. So we've been lucky so far, but I'm not sure how long that'll last.
Yeah, you make a good point. I know that when we first started talking about the shutdown, the airport was one of the places that was already collecting food, but also gas cards for these essential workers that are showing up, but for no pay.
Yeah, and I think it's important to note, and it's a very Utah thing, the whole community, really, the airport family here, and it's a big family. We have 17,000 people who show up to work here every day, have really rallied. We have a food pantry. We've received donations of gas cards and gift cards, and we're doing everything we can to show these folks that we're there for them to the greatest extent that we can. But that'll only take it so far.
Yeah. So it seems like the TSA agents and air traffic controllers are still coming to work in Salt Lake City. Is that right?
For the most part, that is correct. And when it comes to air traffic control, there are sort of two levels here in Salt Lake. One is the airport itself, but the other is something called Salt Lake Center, and that controls all air traffic from essentially the Midwest to the California border, from the Mexican border to the Canadian border. So it's very, very important. And I don't have any particular insight into that situation, but I think that's essentially correct, which is people have been, for the most part, coming to work.
So you mentioned that it's not sustainable to continue to show up but not get paid. So what preparations does the Salt Lake City airport have if staffing shortages start to get worse?
Well, we would work very closely with the TSA because then you're managing multiple situations, which is connecting passengers, for example, for whom their flights may have been canceled, and so they're going to end up spending a lot of time in the airport. And as well, potentially much longer lines at the checkpoint, because if you don't have enough transportation security officers, then you're basically squeezing more people through fewer lanes. And that requires a lot of attention and, frankly, we hope a fair amount of patience from travelers, which we have seen here so far, and we appreciate. So it just means managing limited resources. Excuse me.
So on a related note with those waits, are you currently advising travelers to show up even earlier than they normally would?
Well, I think under the circumstances, a wise traveler would do that. I'm actually taking a trip tomorrow, and I'm going to get here extra early just to be sure.
Yeah, I just took an international trip, and we flew back after the shutdown had started. We didn't have any delays, but we had lots of extra cushion just in case.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this question as well. So ski season is really big for Utah. We know that at least traditionally, the busiest travel day of the year is right around the Thanksgiving weekend. What are your biggest concerns as we are just literally weeks away from those?
Yeah, well, it's hard to imagine that anybody's going to be skiing on Thanksgiving, just given the weather that we've had. So I think that's probably going to slow down. But Thanksgiving and Christmas are really big holidays here, large families coming together with other large families. And that is, I think, something about which we are concerned because the folks who travel typically during holidays are not always the most sophisticated travelers, right? They're just coming once or twice a year, maybe not every day like the business traveler, which makes it even more challenging. A lot of little kids as well. And hopefully this situation will be resolved before that. But if not, it'll be even more challenging.
Wow. Secretary Duffy said that they could maybe close parts of the airspace. What does that mean?
Well, it means that for particular either areas of the country or airports where they are really short-staffed, they would just close the airspace to commercial air traffic. So you wouldn't, this is kind of what happened at Newark some time ago. If you remember, the airport was effectively closed because they didn't have adequate air traffic control. And that's really what he's talking about. And they have a whole system for determining when it is and when it is not safe for aircraft to be traveling in particular areas of the country. And I'm quite confident if they feel it's not safe, they're going to close it, and that's what they should do.
Yeah, you said the magic word, safe. So do you feel confident that you can assure travelers that flying is still going to be safe despite the shutdown and maybe additional delays?
Well, I think it is because I have confidence in the people who are in these critical decision-making roles at places like air traffic control and so forth to make those decisions. That's really, at the bottom line, that is priority number one in air transportation. And I don't see anything that tells me that people have changed their view of that. So if the planes are flying, it'll be safe. But just know that if the professionals in air traffic control feel that it is not safe, they'll close the airspace.
And
that'll be inconvenient for sure, but better safe than sorry.
Thank you so much. So we've been speaking with Salt Lake City International Airport Executive Director Bill Wyatt and really appreciate his insight and his input. Your lines could be getting longer. Airports like Houston are seeing 3+ hours of wait time, and just take your patience with you when you head to the airport. So how do Utahns feel about buying a house right now? A new poll published by the Deseret News gives us some insight, and we're going to get some live analysis from the governor's senior advisor for housing strategy. And as always, we want to thank the Stern team of Omada Real Estate for helping Utahns navigate today's complicated housing market. We'll be right back.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
Join KSL and the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1 at the Layton NPS store at 1150 North Main Street in Layton. NPSstore.com.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. So let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver Card is at table 27 and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver Card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Donate your card to Charity Hotline. This is Roger.
Hi, Roger, I'd like to donate my car.
Yeah, good. Leave the keys in it, park it on the street, and we'll send a thug. Tow.
Where's your office?
In New Jersey. Where do you want it to be?
Well, Roger, I want to make sure my donation helps Utah kidney patients.
It will.
Which ones?
Well, does it matter?
Yes, I want the money to stay in Utah.
And boy, have you got the wrong number.
If you want your car donation to help people here in Utah, turn your car into a kidney car for the National Kidney Foundation of Utah and Idaho. Hi, this is Luz Lewis Perez. Kidney Cars is the Beehive State's #1 choice for charity car donation since 1990. When you donate your car to Kidney Cars, funding stays in Utah to help local Utah kidney patients and funds local medical research. Kidney Cars gets donors the highest tax deduction, along with free towing. Visit towcars.org and learn more. That's towcars with a K like kidney. That's TOWKARS.org.
Save $2,500 on a new furnace and air conditioner from Any Hour Services. For more information, call Any Hour Services or schedule a free estimate online at anyhourservices.com.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
For more information, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
and expanded Inside Sources. Inside Sources.
Special thanks to the Stern team of Amada Real Estate for helping Utahns navigate today's complicated housing market. And look, there's a new Deseret News Hinckley Institute of Politics poll that finds a slim majority of Utahns are less likely to make big purchases this year. That includes a house. And I would say, as we look at this, one of the issues is we're looking at the Utah median house price is about $600,000, somewhere or in that neighborhood, maybe a little less, and the state's median income about $95,000. The math doesn't math very well. So I have in studio with me for just a minute Caitlin Johnston, our producer. Just you've been interested in buying a house for a while. Have you been impacted by the tariffs? That's part of this discussion.
Well, I mean, I can't say for sure because it's kind of, trickling as time goes on. I don't really know what to blame what on, but it does kind of feel like as you start to get a little bit of hope for something else kind of kicks you down. And I'm not playing the blame game because I don't really know what it is, but I do kind of consider myself a forever renter, because I do have this goal to be a homeowner one day, just because I don't like throwing my money at the wall with rent. So it's kind of discouraging, and I have scaled back a little bit just in regards to this poll about big purchases. One example is also a car. I wanted to get a new car for earlier this year, and I almost panic bought one because I was worried about tariffs, and I kind of scaled off on that. But now, with things being so unstable, I'm kind of just holding on as tight as I can to that vehicle. But as far as housing goes, I even changed my renting situation, and I'm now renting a room that's a little bit cheaper for me than, renting a whole townhouse that I used to be renting. So it's a concern, but I still have hope, but I don't know if there's ever going to be a perfect time, honestly.
Yeah, interesting. Thank you for that, Caitlin. I have on the line Steve Waldrop. He's the governor's senior advisor for housing strategy. Thanks for joining me, Steve.
Thank you for having me. Happy to be here. And I just want Caitlin to know she's not alone.
Yeah, we know
She's got
that.
a lot of friends.
She does. She does. What is your response to this poll that people might be delaying big purchases this year? It was 51%, but delaying big purchases because of potentially the impact of tariffs.
Well, I think, it makes sense, right? I don't think that's a surprise to anybody. The impact of uncertainty on the markets is well documented. I mean, we know that when things are uncertain, people do the smart thing, which is back off, pull back, hunker down. They don't want to be overextended in case something bad happens. That perfectly natural behavior and very predictable. And so I think, our hope again is that we get to a point where we have certainty back in the marketplace around pricing. And, as Caitlin said, and you guys pointed out, the median home price in Utah is nearly $600,000. And relative to wages, that's double the historic value. So we're seeing situations where one person used to be able to get into a home on a single salary. It now takes two. And that's a huge change in our social structure. It's having impacts. If you look at our birth rate, Utah's now number 10 in the nation, which in my lifetime I never thought would be the case. We are, sending our kids, our graduates to other states to buy starter homes and get going on the American dream. We can't afford to lose this battle.
Steve, we talked earlier on the show about some of the municipal races, and up in Ogden, there's a couple of city council members who are losing their seats. And I asked a reporter who lives up there what he thought it was, and he said it seems a lot of it has to do with development. And what's interesting to me is we're having these conversations, and you're trying to assure people we've got to get on top of this. Utah needs to build more starter homes. We need to have more housing so we can keep our kids working and living in the state. And yet, when it comes to elections, it seems like there are always people who vote against any kind of additional development. How do you overcome that?
Well, you're asking the great question that gets me to wake up every morning and keeps me awake at night. It's a real challenge, and people are reacting again rationally in their own sphere. Everybody's saying, "Hey, yeah, we know this is a problem. Yeah, we know where kids need homes. Yeah, we know we need to do more. However, we're afraid of the impact that this growth is going to have on my neighborhood, my city, my community. And so we're going to just push back on any change because change is scary. And part of the education process is helping people understand that that density and additional growth doesn't have to be bad. It can be bad, but it doesn't have to be bad. And good planning can overcome, in large measure, the impacts of density. Again, you're still going to have more people, cars, et cetera, but with good planning, you can create great communities. We have examples of that already in the state. Go to Daybreak in in South Jordan, where you see a fairly dense community, but it's done really, really well. And people want to live there. People continue to come there and they want to stay there. And so overcoming that fear narrative that is pervasive in our local politics right now is really, really tough. And that's part of what the governor has talked about lately of, at what point does the state need to step in and take some of that authority, because it's just too difficult for local elected officials to overcome the fear of their constituents. We're having those discussions.
Yeah. So you mentioned that economic uncertainty kind of makes people more conservative with their finances. Are we seeing, and I think I know the answer, but are we seeing a real stagnation in the housing market in Utah?
Oh, absolutely. And it's not just Utah, it's nationwide. So you've got a whole body of people that have mortgages that are in the 3% range. And ordinarily, those people would be getting ready to move up or move down, downsize, upsize, right size. And because they have this mortgage rate lock-in phenomenon going on, where there's a penalty right now if you're going to go from a 3% mortgage to a 6.5%, 7% mortgage, it makes no sense economically for you to move out of your home, even if you really want to, because that rate change really stops people from doing what they ordinarily and historically would have done. So that rate lockup effect is well documented. It's happening all over the country right now.
I think it affects me personally. So my husband and I are talking about downsizing, but with a 2.5% mortgage interest rate, we're like, maybe not yet.
Yeah, you would pay a penalty to go to a smaller home, and who would do that? Like, that just does not make any sense.
Yeah, I have a question, and this is kind of coming from a texter, but about rentals, and more like not rental necessarily for single-family homes, but like a second home or what we would consider short-term rentals. Is that impacting Utah's housing market as well?
It has an impact. The impact is more localized than statewide. If you go to, for instance, St. George, where I'm traveling to right now, some communities down here have a massive amount of second home rentals. If you go to where I live up in Ogden Valley, massive amount of second homes. Park City, so there's different areas in our state where that has a really, really significant impact on the market. Overall in the state, it's less than 3%, so it's really not a huge driver statewide yet. But corporate ownership and corporate rentals are coming into the marketplace, and that's having an impact. So it doesn't take a lot when we're already in a crisis to add fuel to that fire, and so I think that's what we're seeing with some of those issues.
So one really quick question. Somebody texted in and said Daybreak's a good place to live, but have you looked at the HOA fees? Is that an issue that impacts the housing market as well?
Absolutely. Costs are a huge component, and HOA fees are something that are rising throughout the state. I don't think we found the perfect solution to anything yet. But given, the option of having our kids move to a different state or creating a little bit more density with appropriate amenities to offset some of that density, I think I'd opt toward the latter so that we can keep our kids here. We don't have a brain drain. We experienced that in the state in the 80s and 90s. And we're now a really great place to live, but we're almost a victim of our own success now.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I've been speaking with Steve Waldrop, the Governor's Senior Advising for Housing Strategy. And special thanks to the Stern team of Amada Real Estate for helping Utahns navigate today's complicated housing market. You can learn your home's true value in 30 seconds by visiting sternteam.com to find out more. Stay with us over the break.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. Kentucky officials say the airport is back up and running after a deadly plane crash near Louisville yesterday. A UPS cargo plane burned for hours after crashing into several businesses near the airport shortly after takeoff.
We are operational. We have one runway open. We do have some delays. We had 21 flights cancel yesterday. That's 16% of the total flights.
That's the airport CEO. At least 9 people were killed in yesterday's collision. Officials warned the death toll could rise as search and rescue continues at the scene. In Utah, we'll feel much more seasonal weather with temperatures dropping back down to the 50s tomorrow. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis reports.
Overnight, expect a drop of around 15 degrees in northern Utah, bringing temperatures into the 50s versus the 70-degree weather we've been getting. Meteorologist at the National Weather Service says this warm of weather is unusual for the time of year, so although the drop is large, we're just returning to expected seasonal temperatures.
The National Weather Service meteorologist says the cold front will be coming in sometime between midnight and 5 a.m. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 291 points. The S&P is up 51 points. And coming up, one more day of highs in the 70s. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Hey guys, it's Woodrow from Mint Medical Clinic. Are you struggling with ED? Well, you are not alone, and now there's a real solution that treats the root cause, not just the symptoms. Introducing our Trifecta approach, a breakthrough combination of acoustic wave therapy, hormone replacement, and cryotherapy, all designed to restore blood flow, boost performance, and rebalance your hormones. Whether it's ED or hormonal imbalance, if you're ready to reignite your love life, this treatment helps bring back your energy, your drive, and your confidence. And right now, when you call, you'll receive a free consultation, a blood flow ultrasound, and an intimacy gift. That's a $650 value, absolutely free. And here's the bonus. The next 20 callers will also receive a 5-night stay at a luxury resort in Hawaii just for taking the first step. But you must call now. With 2 convenient locations in Layton and Sandy, help is closer than you think. Call 801-804-8000 now. That's 801-804-8000. Mint Medical Clinic. We'll get you back to mint condition.
Many people worry they're not making the right investment choices inside their 401ks. Did you know that you might have a little-known opportunity to add some additional investment choices to your 401k and get the help and recommendations you've been looking for? This exciting feature is called a self-directed brokerage window. And the best part? The money still stays within your 401k. Learn how the trusted advisors at Capital Wealth may be able to expand your investment portfolio. To learn more, call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Improving your 401k might mean the difference of retiring a few years earlier. Let's find out. Schedule your no-cost 15-minute consultation with the Capital Wealth team today. Call or text the word VISIT to 801-877-9800 or go to CapitalWealth401k.com. Advisory services offered through Capital Wealth Advisors, LLC, a state of Utah registered investment advisor.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule at 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Heather Kelly.
We are accident-free all across the Wasatch Front right now, and no delays on city streets or major freeways. So whether you're traveling on I-15, the east or west side belt routes, or I-80 through Parley's Canyon, you're looking at good speeds and no issues getting to where you need to go. #1 best-selling author Richard Paul Evans' new book, The Christmas Stranger, is now on sale. Critics are calling it one of his best. Get your copies of The Christmas Stranger today. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 73 today with cloudy skies and a bit of breeze. Tomorrow we'll see temperatures plummet to the upper 50s with morning rains, storm just before the clouds. And right now it's 65 and partly cloudy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
I'm Holly Richardson, and Greg Skordas has the day off today, but we've been talking about election results all show, and it was a big night for Democrats coast to coast. In the two races for governor that we talked about earlier, ABC News national correspondent Stephen Portnoy took a look at how the winners did versus the presidential election last year.
In several areas that President Trump carried or made it close just a year ago, the winds have shifted, with Democratic gubernatorial candidate Mikey Sherrill winning in the northern and southern New Jersey suburbs, and Abigail Spanberger strongly outperforming Kamala Harris in northern Virginia. Exit polls in both states showed voters greatly concerned about the economy and giving President Trump poor marks for his job performance. Congressional Republicans may see these results as a warning sign ahead of next year's midterm elections.
So one of the things that I noted, too, was that every county in Virginia shifted more towards the Democrats. They got bluer after last night's election. So I have with me on the line Jason Perry, guru of Utah politics. He's the vice president for government relations and the director of the Hinckley Institute of Politics at the University of Utah. Thanks for joining me, Jason.
Always, Holly. Great to be with you.
Hey, so tell me, what's your take? What's your take on this national story?
Well, it's so interesting. The outcomes are interesting, and what you just said was exactly right. In various places around the country, you got them. New Jersey, Virginia, Georgia. We saw a step to the left in a lot of those particular places on the municipal side and all the way up to the governors, which is interesting. But what's interesting to me is sort of the messaging that seemed to resonate a little bit as well. And it was a different message than what we saw in the presidential election. There, and Holly, you and I have talked about this in the past. What was interesting was when you talked about the top priorities for the Republicans and the top priorities for the Democrats, there was not a lot of overlap at the time. And so what's clear is the Democrats reclaimed some of these issues for this race. It was less about democracy is about to be destroyed and a little bit more about the economy, a little more about the shutdown, a little bit about how we're affording things in our everyday life. That's an interesting messaging shift.
So it reminds me of the catchphrase that was used by Bill Clinton's political strategist. It's the economy, stupid. Are we back to focusing on that?
Well, I think that's exactly what's happened. And if you look at the last election cycle, and a good portion of the country took a step to the right. So what's coming back a little bit, I think, is a result of that new messaging. A lot of the sort of campaigning on social issues that happened in the last presidential election didn't happen this time. And I think you're right, Holly. People are looking at a government shutdown. A bunch of parts of the country are definitely impacted by not getting paychecks. Inflation still remains high. And so the Democrats sort of pivoting back to that message like they have done in the past seems to have helped.
Let me ask you this. We talked earlier in this show about the shutdown and its impacts, and that President Trump this morning is he's kind of demanding that Republicans in the Senate do away with the filibuster, or else they're going to keep on losing, is what he said. What are your feelings about the filibuster, and if there's any appetite in the Senate for that?
So I don't think that there really is. It's talked about regularly. Whoever's in power in the White House talks about this, but this is one of those principles right now that no one has been willing to get rid of, even though it's back after this last election cycle. But it brings up a good point that you mentioned, too, about President Trump weighing in. That's one of those things. But he also has weighed in directly on the results of this election, noting one really true point, which was he wasn't on the ballot. So what happens to races when he is not on the ballot? And I think that these two items are connected a little bit, because he's trying to say that there are issues beyond his office that impacted the outcomes, and maybe there's still opportunity for him and for the Republican Party. But that's one of them, because he mentioned the shutdown, and that's closely connected to the filibuster discussion.
Yeah, and President Trump's not going to be on the ballot again, despite some people saying, well, yeah, he'll run in 2028. He will not. But
no.
But I'm also seeing, I saw this in the Washington Post, and I asked Cami Mondo, who reports for the Deseret News, about this, and she confirmed it, that there's a discussion going on about whether furloughed workers, so the ones who are not considered essential workers, if they will actually get their back pay. And there's conversations going on right now in D.C. saying they will not. So basically, they've been put on unpaid leave, and they may not get that back. How do you think that's going to impact elections?
Well, it will have an impact. And there's one item that seems to transcend almost any opinion about other social issues or other campaign issues, and that's whether or not you can feed your family. That's one of those things that just shows up at the ballot box every single time. When you're trying to figure out what candidate you are going to support, you can overlook a lot of things if you feel like you're going to be able to provide for your family. And if what happens right now maybe proves that one point of what President Trump was saying, is the shutdown might not just have an impact on this election, but in elections going forward. People don't forget when they worked and didn't get paid, or lost job and didn't get paid. That's something you tend to remember.
Yeah, in fact, typically we like to say that voters don't have a super long memory, and it's a year before we have the midterm elections. But what I hear you saying is you think this can translate over and really impact the 2026 elections as well.
So I think it could, because this is just so deeply personal. Your ability to provide for your family, for yourself, that is something you don't forget. But it's going to be a very interesting thing to watch, to see who can most effectively lay blame. It's not clear right now that you could say that issue, which I do think will not be forgotten as quickly. Particularly, we have a couple things now always referred to so far as the longest shutdown in history. People didn't get paid for the first time after one of these shutdowns. And who's to blame? That will be the big game through this next election cycle.
Let me ask you this question about Texas. So Texas Governor Abbott said that he was going to impose a 100% tariff on anybody who moved from New York City to Texas. And it kind of makes me laugh, but at the same time, it's like, can he actually do that?
I'm not sure how he would do that, Holly.
I don't know how he would either.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what he would have to put in place to make that happen. I think there's just politics at play right there, trying to to show what values in one state are not welcome in another state. But I think it's all you can take from that.
All right. One quick last question. Do you have any insights into the Utah elections that happened yesterday?
Well, so a lot of more moderate candidates won. That's my observation. Is you may have had a small shift left in some parts of the country, but you have a lot of moderate candidates that won, which may be an indication of where Utah is as well.
Thank you so much for joining me. I've been speaking with Jason Perry, who knows all things Utah politics, and he's also the director of the Hinckley Institute of Politics at the University of Utah. So it's when we come back, the Salt Lake County Council. We talked about this last week on Inside Sources, but they voted to shut down 4 county daycares that were in recreation centers, and parents had really strong reactions to this change.
I plead, and I would please ask for you to reconsider closing the daycare programs that are a lifeline to so many of us.
We're going to bring you the latest details next.
This holiday season, won't you help us by bringing joy to a young child? It begins with the Children's Center Utah's Hope and Healing online fundraiser. Now through Thursday, your donations will support essentials for therapeutic work, including tools, play materials, books, and art supplies, so children can better express emotions and heal. Your contributions will be vital. Local foundations and individuals are matching donations so that every gift will have maximum impact. It's 90 hours of giving to raise $90,000, which will provide 90 children with 4 sessions of family therapy. You can even make your gift in honor or in memory of a loved one or family member. Plus, the giving doesn't end when the 90 hours are over. The Children's Center Utah welcomes donations of winter clothing, diapers, and formula to support basic needs for families who struggle to afford essentials during these holiday months. Visit childrenscenterutah.org. Help a family this holiday season. The Children's Center Utah, where hope and healing happen.
If you're getting new gutters, make absolutely sure that you don't get screwed. I mean literally, don't get screwed. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And every single gutter company out there uses screws to hold their gutters together at the corners and downspouts. They use screws because they're fast and cheap and easy, but man, they're terrible for your gutters, aside from possibly cutting your hand. They also loosen and corrode over time because they're not made from the same metal as the gutters. At RGS Exteriors, we've been installing gutters for 70 years now, and we don't use screws. We only use permanent, strong, and unobtrusive rivets. They're made from the same material as the gutters, so they won't oxidize and they won't corrode. They'll also never loosen. Your hand is safe too. Did I mention they look amazing? So don't get screwed. Call RGS and get riveted gutters. Our number is 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or rgsutah.com.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. Ever wonder why Big Wireless wants you on an unlimited plan? They probably want you to cover the cost of those 20-somethings using all that data every month. But most people 50 and up like me only use 12 gigs or less. Don't get bamboozled by Big Wireless. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Our plans start at just $20, and we use the same towers as the big guys. Join the millions who choose something better, because if you're not using all that data, you're probably getting used.
Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com/facts. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional facts.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/radio to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/radio for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/radio for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/radio. See representative for warranty details.
Hi, Grandma. What's for dinner?
Hey, honey, I'm making stew tonight.
Ooh, can Nina come over?
I'm not sure about our new friend. I wonder if there's been any drinking going on. Alcohol at her age can lead to so many bad things.
I've been meaning to ask you, what would happen if someone offered you a drink? Grandma?
This is hard. She's so young, but I know I need to talk to her about it now before someone tries to give her alcohol.
If anyone ever does offer you a drink, I want you to say no. I have too much respect for my family, and I don't want to get in trouble. Okay. Really? I promise, Grandma. I love you too. Okay, how about tasting this stew and telling me what you think?
Some children may try alcohol as young as 9 years old. It's not too early to talk about drinking. For tips on how to begin the conversation, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. That's underagedrinking.samhsa.gov. This message brought to you by SAMHSA and this station.
All in together now, we can make it better. Can we do it? We'll rope it up. Cause we know how to jump.
Moving and eating better every day can help make you and your kids healthier. Search We Can online to find out more. A message from the Ad Council, HHS, and NIH's We Can program.
Inside Sources.
So last night, the Salt Lake County Council voted again not to extend child care services at 4 counties' subsidized daycare programs despite emotional public comment from dozens of people.
So I plead, and I would please ask for you to reconsider closing the daycare programs that are a lifeline to so many of us.
So joining me now is Heather Peterson from KSL News Radio. Heather, that's heart-wrenching.
Yeah, and we heard from a lot of people who've been utilizing these services and talking about how they don't really have a lot of alternatives just because the cost is so low at these daycares versus private childcare facilities. And so, a lot of people really struggling with, like, what are we going to do if this goes away?
Yeah, so last night's discussion was not about closing it because they'd already made that decision. What was last night's discussion about?
It was actually yesterday afternoon, and what they talked about was there was a proposal on the table to extend childcare to at least May, because right now they were set to close it at the end of the year. So they were thinking, what if we increase the cost just a little bit so that we can keep it open until May, and that at least gives families time to find other alternatives and gives them through the end of the school year for those who had school-age kids. But that was voted down as well. And some of the council members talked about how, no, let's not prolong what's already going to happen. And other council members voted no, just because they think we can do better and that there might still be a solution out there in the budget that they can still rework. So there was a couple different reasons they voted no. It was a split decision, but hopefully they can work something out.
What was the split? Do you remember?
It was 5-4. I can't.
Yeah. Okay.
say.
No.
Yeah.
Well, that's the partisan split right there.
Yeah.
So we heard that mom who was clearly very emotional about this. What were other parents' responses?
She was definitely the most emotional. She honestly had a hard time even getting through the whole thing. And I can actually play that for you now so we can hear a little bit more about her concerns and then hear from some other parents as well.
I'm a single parent. I don't have other options. But thank heavens we're going to have a mini golf course. I've heard I'm going to have to quit. But thank heavens we're going to have a golf course. I've heard we won't be able to afford food. But thank heavens we'll have a golf course. I won't be able to give my kids a Christmas. But thank heavens we'll have a golf course. This is going to take me an extra 10 years to buy a house. But thank heavens we have a mini golf course. So I plead, and I'm so sorry. I would please ask for you to reconsider closing the daycare programs that are a lifeline to so many of us.
So just to recap some of the points she was talking about that I heard from a lot of parents was this is just coming at a really bad time. People are, off of SNAP benefits and with inflation and all that. Like, this is not the time to be.
And the holidays.
Exactly. So that was one of her big points. A lot of people talking about just they've been on daycare waiting lists for long periods of time, and this had openings and is cheap and affordable. So if this goes away, are they going to go back on these long waiting lists for affordable childcare and not be able to work in the meantime?
Yeah, look, I'm interested in hearing from our listeners either on how much they pay for daycare or how they're working it. You can text us at 57500. But last week when we talked about this, there was some indication that they had basically notified parents that this could be coming earlier in the year. But I also think that some parents were maybe a little blindsided. What was your experience listening to them yesterday?
Well, here, I have a clip I can actually play you. This is from Dale Frost. He said he was notified completely out of the blue on the same day of their trunk or treat.
Oh.
It's almost ironic that we received the notification of the daycare's closure just minutes before we left to take part in the trunk or treat that was hosted by that daycare. It was bittersweet seeing all these cute kids and knowing that this was something that was going away. We're disappointed that the closure came without any warning to any of us. We're given no opportunity to comment, no notification that a vote will be even taking place. Look at the minutes for last week's meeting, leave no mention of a vote. Just an informative session. I understand that this daycare service is costly. I understand that you need to balance your budget. I understand that this service hasn't been as popular as it was pre-pandemic. But I also know that it was in the process of becoming more utilized, and I don't think the full repercussions for closing down this service were considered. Waiting lists for daycares can be longer than a year. Many people will have to quit their jobs to take care of their kids, and this decision is firing numbers of trained and dedicated staff. This council, instead of working out any alternative solutions, decided to just shutter the program.
So what was the response from council members?
They just kind of took public comment. They didn't really address each person. So I can't really speak to what they said about the timing of the notification, but they were just really hitting on, this is something that was going on during their budget talks. And they just saw this as a $2 million way to kind of offset the property tax cut that they've been bringing up that they're hoping to implement in the 2026 year.
So can you remind us what Councilwoman Stringham had to say?
Yeah, so I can play you this clip, but just to sum it up ahead of time, she talked about this analysis that they put out that was showing that with the daycare being underutilized, they are offsetting those costs so much that basically each child care center was costing them about $500,000 just to subsidize the care, and it's really just not a good business decision.
So then I either have to cut $7.4 million to cover those without raising taxes, or I have to look at really good programs or programs that aren't performing and cut those. And we have a report that says we have some issues with the daycare. I'm sorry, but that's what the report said very clearly. And we are not at capacity in any of the daycares. If they were so great, we would be at capacity. And so I do know that this has been a very, very heated and difficult situation. If you were evaluating this on business alone, this business would have closed a long time ago. If you were evaluating it as a government program that's effective, it would have closed a long time ago. So we've got some issues that we haven't worked through. And to throw that on the rest of us who are trying to do due diligence and make sure we're running good programs, making sure they're meeting some kind of metric and getting that information back is vital.
So my question, just has to be, was there any kind of discussion about other alternatives? Like, can you do better marketing? Can you advertise better? Can you go out into the community and let people know that this is an option for them? Because clearly the people who use the service, they really value the service. So if they're underutilized, why are we not out marketing more?
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of the commenters said as well. There was discussion about it, but no decisions made, just that, this is something that was talked about. And at the end of the meeting yesterday on this topic, they did say, the budget is not finalized, right? So we can still look at other options. We can still, consider this situation and hear everything that the public has to say and see if there's another option out there. So it sounds like it's not set in stone, but this is just the way it's leaning so far.
Well, it feels to me like it's more than just leaning, right? Last week we also heard from Council Member Amy Winder Newton, who said it's a hard decision, but it's basically, it comes down to the budget. But at the same time, we know the county mayor has proposed a tax increase, right? Do you feel like this is just to offset that in some way?
Yeah, that's what Councilmember Stringham was getting at, is that people are upset about the property tax increase, and so as they're finding ways to try to lower that number down from 20% to be able to provide for the budget, this was a good way to do that. And so if people want lower property tax increases, they're going to have to make sacrifices. This is where the council thought that they could cut, but if not here, then where? And so that's what's in the talks.
Yeah, and that's it impacts 271 families, I think I remember. So it's I have to question the timing. I know that this is the time of year that you do budget, but this is a particularly uncertain economic time. And so this might have electoral impacts down the road.
It may. I mean, there's a lot of people really upset about it. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
All right. Thank you so much. We've been talking with Heather Peterson from KSL News Radio. So when we come back, we are going to talk about the Supreme Court. They're hearing arguments today about the president's ability to impose tariffs, and we'll talk with SCOTUS blog managing editor Kelsey Dallas. So stay with us on KSL News Radio. You can stream us on the KSL News Radio app, sponsored by At Your Service Pros.
11:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Claire Scott. KSL's top story this hour. We're learning that a well-known Utah Democrat is launching his campaign for Congress this month.
Ben McAdams is the most recent Utah Democrat to serve in Congress from 2019 to 2021, and now it looks like he's running again. In a message sent to a small amount of supporters, the Salt Lake Tribune reports he has opened tickets for a formal campaign launch on November 13th, after filing his statement of candidacy last month. Tickets to the launch campaign cost anywhere from $1,000 to $7,000. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Oral arguments in the Supreme Court this morning over President Trump's sweeping tariffs are over. Justices must now debate whether the president can tax imports without the approval of Congress.
This case is not about the president, it's about the presidency. It's not about partisanship, it's about principle. And above all, it's about upholding the majestic separation of powers laced into our Constitution that is the foundation for our government.
That's the plaintiff's attorney, who says he's confident they presented a strong case today. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 293 points and the S&P is up 52 points. And coming up, warm before the storm, KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 11:31.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio.
Most folks wait till January to say, I should probably fix this or do something about how you feel. But you know what? You're going to go into 2026 with the resolution already done, because soda helps you lose the weight now, so your New Year's all celebration.
You and I both started our soda weight loss journey in October and November, right? And I loved going into holiday parties knowing I had a plan. It wasn't just, I'm going to try not to. It was, this is my plan, because I've spoken with a nutritionist and I get a jump start on that, first of the year goal by beginning soda weight loss right now.
Yeah, there's no guesswork. You're supported every step of the way, and you need that. And right now, there's an amazing offer from Soda for you and your partner. You join, and your partner joins for free.
So why gain 20 pounds just to lose it in the new year? Go to Soda Weight Loss today and begin today.
That's sodaweightloss.com, SOTA weightloss.com, because soda is, say it with me, Amanda, state of the art.
This message comes from Viking, committed to exploring the world in comfort. Journey through the heart of Europe on an elegant Viking longship with thoughtful service, destination-focused dining, and cultural enrichment on board and on shore. With small ships that bring travelers closer to the destination, there's more time to explore. And every Viking voyage is all-inclusive, with no children and no casinos. Discover more at Viking.com.
Here's a tale of Becky. Didn't know what to do with new meds prescribed and no real cost clue.
She squinted at prices, that can't be right. Then tapped GoodRx and saw the light.
She could get a deal, book telehealth if she feel.
Learn about those meds without any stress. That one little app does all the rest. Even my horse downloaded it. Dang, save time and money on prescriptions.
Check GoodRx. GoodRx is not insurance.
The Utah Mammoth and Smiths are teaming up to get you to the game with qualifying Smiths purchases. You can score single goal view tickets, hot dog and a bottle of water included for just $15. The catch? These tickets go fast. Download the Utah Mammoth app, enable push notifications, and be the first to know when new tickets are released. Shop at Smiths, then snag your seat for $15. Simple. Grab the Utah Mammoth app today and watch for the next release. Tusks up.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th. So go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Utah can count on.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Visa Triple Rewards. Here's Ricky Meeks.
Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways and our main secondaries. We did hear from a KSL texter that, well, we know the storm is coming through, and the driver is saying winds really starting to pick up along I-15 around the point of the mountain and into the Draper area. So if you're in a small vehicle or a large load carrying an empty trailer, you may get bumped around a bit. When you need the financial products and services for every stage of life, Cyprus Credit Union is there for whatever the future holds. Visit cypruscu.com today. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
We'll see highs in the 70s today before temperatures drop drastically overnight. And then some rain tomorrow morning and highs in the upper 50s. It stays cold over the next few days. Right now, 66 and mostly cloudy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
The all-new Inside Sources. Your inside access to the people and policies shaping Utah's future. Here are Greg Skordas and Holly Richardson on KSL News Radio.
So the Supreme Court is now hearing oral arguments on the legality of President Trump's, quote, Liberation Day tariffs imposed on dozens of countries, including China, Mexico, and Canada. This ruling could impact tens of billions of dollars in tax revenue and affect trade worldwide with some of the U.S.'s largest trade partners. Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson questioned Trump's tariff authority, calling the Solicitor General's argument inconsistent with the law cited by the administration.
It seems a little inconsistent to say that we have to interpret a statute that was designed to constrain presidential authority, consistent with an understanding that Congress wanted the president to have essentially unlimited authority.
So I have on the line with me managing editor with the SCOTUS blog. If you haven't checked that out, you need to. Kelsey Dallas. Thanks, Kelsey, for joining me today.
Hey, I'm happy to be here.
So just help break down for us what's being argued today. What's the legal question here?
The key legal question is whether President Donald Trump had the authority under the International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose those tariffs you were referencing. So that's what Trump cited when he was doing the Liberation Day tariff. And the question is, was that an appropriate interpretation of that law, which is also called IEEPA?
So how does this compare to previous rulings where the court limited executive power, like Biden's student loan forgiveness program, for example?
The reason it connects to those is a concept called the major questions doctrine. And it's sort of a theory that says if Congress wanted to address a really important topic, such as who has the power to make a tariff, to impose a tariff, then it would say so directly. In IEEPA, it uses the words regulate importation, and it doesn't actually use the word tariff. And so part of what's happening in this case is a question of whether the Trump administration has overinterpreted IEEPA to the point that the court has to pull it back.
So it seems to me that the court has been largely siding with President Trump and his ability to do a variety of things. Are there any early indicators on how justices might be leaning with this case?
Right. As you noted, this court over the past 11 months or so has ruled for President Trump multiple times, but it's important to note that those rulings came on what's called the emergency docket or interim docket, meaning that the court was just addressing whether a policy could remain in place temporarily as the lawsuit continued. This is where they're taking on the underlying question, and the decision will actually affect the long-term status of these tariffs. Coming into the case, I think most legal experts were predicting that the court would rule against the Trump administration and block the tariffs. And I think that's really where people ended the arguments as well. After nearly more than 2.5 hours of debate, I think most legal experts think the court will strike down the tariffs. However, there were some people waffling because there were tough questions for both sides.
So let me ask you this on how it might apply with what the Senate has done. So I think it was last week, the Senate voted to, I think, on a resolution to basically say President Trump doesn't have the power to impose tariffs. Does that have any bearing at all on the actual ability to impose tariffs, or are we really just waiting for the Supreme Court?
Well, only in the sense that this case, because it's about executive authority or presidential power, it also implicates the power of Congress. So the court has to think about what the founders wanted to do, who they wanted to assign the power to do certain things to, and whether a ruling for the Trump administration would cause a major shift of what was intended with the Constitution and what was intended when Congress passed IEPA. So there were questions and debates in today's oral arguments where the justices were reflecting on whether a ruling for Trump would then make it impossible for Congress to ever weigh in on tariffs imposed under IEPA. And I think the justices get nervous about doing that because you're saying, okay, I've totally taken away Congress's power to be any sort of check on the president.
That would seem to be a key issue with the U.S. Constitution and the balance of powers. So that's an interesting take. President,
but to clarify, it would be a specific type of tariffs, not all tariffs. So these tariffs that are invoked because the president claims that there is an emergency going on.
So the president is also claiming he has emergency powers to, bomb boats off the coast of Venezuela. Are those? I know it's not the same argument, but it just feels like there's a lot of pushing of boundaries with this current administration.
I believe that's a fair assessment. What's interesting is that although you could imagine a world where that would be the focus of the Supreme Court's ruling, is saying, oh, we don't really agree with what the president has said about how much of an emergency we're experiencing. The legal experts that we've had address the case for SCOTUS blog have said the court gets very nervous about trying to define emergency or trying to criticize the president invoking emergency. And so it prefers, if it's not happy with what the president has done, to sort of go a different route to scale it back. And so in this case, it's very well possible that the ruling would focus just on the text of the statute or just on past rulings about Congress and the power balance with Congress and the president, instead of the court saying something about, wow, Trump has really gone off the rails here and this isn't the right way to define emergency. I will note that it came up just slightly in arguments with Justice Sotomayor referencing the recent kerfuffle over Canada's ad on the tariff and how it aired during the World Series. And Sotomayor was clearly saying she doesn't agree with this idea from Trump that it's an emergency because it wouldn't be seen as an emergency to then punish Canada for creating such an ad.
Interesting. Thank you, Kelsey. We're going to continue to follow the latest developments. And in the next couple of minutes, I want to just talk about a tragic story from last night. So a UPS cargo plane crashed shortly after taking off from the Louisville, Kentucky airport yesterday. And I'll have to say, I first heard about this from my sister-in-law, whose husband, my brother, is a UPS pilot. And the way she started the family text was, just so you know, Sterling is home safe. He just landed in Orlando, but there's been this plane crash. And ABC's Alex Perez has the latest on what we know about that aircraft.
The plane, with 3 crew members on board, was carrying over 220,000 pounds of fuel, crashing just after takeoff Tuesday night. Data from Flight Radar 24 shows the 34-year-old plane was on its 3rd flight of the day and was reportedly out of service, likely for maintenance, for much of the last month, and again the day before the crash.
So at least 9 people have died. Others are injured. If you saw the gigantic fireball that happened, I think it's not unlikely the count will continue to rise. It took the roof off of a building nearby. And there's a team on the ground right now of at least 28 people looking at the airfield. So one of the things that is just You know, it always hits a little closer to home when it's somebody that it could have been your family member. And again, my brother is a pilot for UPS, and the entire UPS family is mourning today the crash of that jet. It was fully fueled up, ready to head to Hawaii, and so just that gigantic fireball on the ground. Okay, we're 36 days in. We're seeing real impacts starting to bubble up from what is now the longest government shutdown in history, and wonder, are we reaching a breaking point? Representative Blake Moore is going to call into the show next. Stay with us over the break.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and when I think of the holiday season, I always think of the Western Nut Company. They have been part of our family celebration for as long as I can remember. And during this season, when I talk about the warmth of the holidays, the main store in downtown Salt Lake City on 4th South absolutely represents it. When you walk through the doors, just the spirit and the feel, the smells, and the warmth of the holiday season washes over you, and you are going to find all kinds of goodies that are perfect for this time of year. I got to tell you, this gives me a real kick. Their Nut of the Month subscription delivers a variety of nut gift boxes right to the door throughout the year. And also, don't miss their holiday preview sale. It's getting underway November 6th, 7th, and 8th at 4th South and 3rd West. You are going to love everything you find. And if you can't get into the store, go online at westernnut.com.
You trust us for news and information in your car. Now trust us at home. KSL News Radio has you covered, keeping you informed on the latest breaking news, weather, traffic, sports, and more. Listen on your Amazon Echo or Google Home device. Just say, Alexa, open KSL News Radio. Or listen on the KSL News Radio Listen app. Text the word app to 57500. KSL News Radio. We have you covered.
Imagine all that could happen in 5 years. Jobs may change, kids grow, new memes will come out. But also, what if you had reliable, intelligent Wi-Fi and the price didn't change for 5 years? Thanks to the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee, you actually don't have to worry about that part of your future. You're guaranteed 5 years of Wi-Fi that boosts speeds to your devices that need the most, finds and fixes any issues before you even notice them. It's like a super intelligent Wi-Fi that keeps you protected from threats online. Plus, you get incredible gaming speeds on multiple devices with no one battling for bandwidth. For the next 5 years, all your devices will be working in perfect harmony, and you get their best equipment with no annual contracts, no fees, no strings. So even though your kids will grow up and you still won't understand 6-7, your internet will stay sharp, reliable, and most important, the price will stay put. All with the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Lock in your price and unlock the possibilities. Xfinity. Imagine that. Restrictions apply. Select plans only.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody. Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Habitat for Humanity Greater Salt Lake area helps local families build and buy affordable homes, offering the tools and support they need to achieve lasting stability while strengthening communities and transforming lives. CEO Corinne Crow joins us with more.
Families and communities truly thrive when housing is safe, stable, and empowering, and that's exactly what Habitat for Humanity provides. By offering a variety of programs, we address immediate needs while supporting long-term stability for families across Utah. Our critical home repair program ensures homes remain safe and accessible, while our service team for exterior projects provides fencing repairs, yard maintenance, and other improvements that keep homes sustainable. Families gain confidence and a sense of ownership by building modest, efficient homes through sweat equity, turning them into empowered homeowners. Habitat Cares supports individuals and families by providing essentials and volunteer opportunities that help them move towards stability. Beyond Utah, volunteers engage in global village builds, working alongside families abroad and learning from different communities. Initiatives like the Restore and the seasonal holiday auction allow the community to get involved by donating, volunteering, or shopping to directly support local families in need.
Habitat for Humanity Greater Salt Lake continues to make a meaningful impact for families. Visit HabitatSaltLake.org and help them achieve their vision of a world where everyone has a decent place to live. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
Save $2,500 on a new furnace and air conditioner from Any Hour Services. For more information, call Any Hour Services or schedule a free estimate online at anyhourservices.com.
Over the years, you've brought them into your home. You were prescribed opioids after the C-section, when Dad injured his back, when your basketball star tore his ACL. Opioids helped with the pain, and you held on to them just in case. But did you know holding on to unused opioids puts your family at risk? Opioids are powerful pain-reducing prescription medicines, but most people who are prescribed opioids don't finish their prescriptions. So millions of unused opioids are sitting in homes across the country. And tragically, more than 100 Americans die every day from overdoses involving opioids. What can you do to protect your family? Remove the risk of unused opioids from your home. Pills, patches, or syrups in drawers, purses, and cabinets, anywhere they might be hiding. To find out how to dispose of them properly, visit www.fda.gov/drug disposal.
The new Inside Sources.
So we've already noted multiple times there are many individuals being impacted by their government shutdown. Now on day 36, record-breaking government shutdown, and some of them are working, some of them are not working. And we have on the line with us Representative Blake Moore. Thanks for joining our show today.
Thank you. Happy to. Thanks for covering it.
So can you tell us, first of all, very first question, is there any end in sight?
As I sort of reviewed, you know what sources to kind of go to and sometimes who to ask about what you're hearing. There seemed like there was a little momentum yesterday when as news of potential talks between Majority Leader John Thune and Senate Democrat leadership felt like there was some movement, and there was even an articulation of what it might look like. That's usually a good sign if those level of detail are out there in the ether. I'm not feeling as much momentum today. I'm in Washington D.C. right now. I'm just not feeling as much like, hey, this is likely going to move towards a vote. We were hoping that a vote might even take place, but I don't see that happening today. But maybe those talks are still ongoing. So hopefully there's something there. It would require Senate to pass something similar to what the House already passed. And if it changes the dates and timelines, it would then have to come back to the House. So there would obviously be a Senate vote and a few days later a House vote. And I'm still hopeful that we can get this done by end of next week, because you're missing 3 pay periods at this point. That's ridiculous. And you've gotten there's the longest in history. Great. You've got that talking point now. Let's move on. Let's get this over with.
That's painful, missing 3 paychecks. So,
it's horrible.
One of the things that I saw in the Washington Post, and then when I talked with Cami Mondo earlier, she said that there is a conversation about not paying furloughed workers. So not the ones who are considered essential, who are still showing up, but the ones who have not been able to go to work. What is your approach to that?
Yeah, all the more reason to wrap this up as soon as possible. So those hard decisions don't have to happen. And we're now in unprecedented timeline and territory because it's the longest, quote unquote, in history. And so there's a bit of an unknown factor at this point. And I do not want us to get to that point. I mean, it's so wrong to fire, furlough, not pay someone for not to no fault of their own. They are producing this is a separate side conversation among, politicians in Washington, D.C., and then 31,000 families and then all the, second and third order effects of this has nothing to do with what the issue at hand is. And they've got to be able to get over this and move on.
So what do you think has to give?
Well, I thought that there was a pretty good framework articulated yesterday. And again, of course, it was early, but let there be a vote on this COVID-era enhanced subsidies on Obamacare. Let there be a vote. If the Democrats are, they want this, they want it to pass. Well, if it has enough votes to pass, then let there be a vote. So I think the idea of, letting there be a vote is a good approach to going with this. And you get to see where people stand on something like this. And if they're saying, hey, as long as there's a vote and you can guarantee that there'll be a vote, great. We'll now provide the needed votes. The Democrats will provide the needed votes to get out of the shutdown. That seems like a fair compromise to me.
So I did have a texter say that they would be impacted by the subsidies going away, and that they have a friend whose premiums are about $300 a month, and they'd go up to $1,300 a month on January 1st. Is that are there Republican approaches to helping people who are going to be probably choosing to not have health care if the subsidies go away?
It's the most important question to be figuring out right now, and communicating properly, because the expiry of the enhanced premium, the COVID era tax credits, is not removing Obamacare subsidies. All of the original Obamacare subsidies will stay in place. The enhanced version was just was triggered during COVID, and the Democrats set a timeline for those to end at 2025. As those end, there could be premiums go up, but the whole reason for the premiums go up is a lot of factors. The enhanced premium tax credit aspect that we're just dealing with right now, that's only a portion of why that would go from. That's a dramatic increase. Everybody can see that from a 300 to 300. That's a dramatic. That's not all because of just this enhanced premium tax. If we extended the enhanced subsidy, there's still going to be a significant increase. So that happens regardless, just based off several factors within the healthcare world right now. It's horrible and unfortunate, and it's tough to figure out. But none of this actually creates lower prices, right? The prices are still there. It's just about how much is subsidized. More subsidy creates higher prices, and that's proven the case over the last, let's say, 10 years.
Did I understand you correctly that you are in D.C. right now?
I am in D.C. right now, yes.
Okay,
here for some pre-scheduled meetings, and we're not. Yeah, and I've over the last 4 weeks, I've had several weeks where I've been in district in Utah or back here.
Yeah. So Speaker Johnson still hasn't called the House back together. Is that correct?
Not for official votes, but there's a lot of my colleagues that are back here doing separate meetings and things that either they had on the schedule already or for continuing work that's going on. And the appropriations work continues on. We have to get to the point where we can vote on these final appropriations bills. So there's still a lot of work that's going on, but we're not called back into official session because we already, passed the CR back in end of September.
So do you think that he should call members back, or are you just really going to keep waiting on the Senate?
So there's nothing we can do with respect to opening the government back up until the Senate finalizes their deal. So calling us back in session is just for kind of going through the motions. I don't have a problem with him deciding to do it. I don't have a problem with him not having us come back. We all still have plenty of work that we're doing, whether it be in your district or with other meetings and work that's in Washington. I think a lot has been made of this. There is no second-term congressman or woman from Florida that's going to be able to convince Chuck Schumer to let his members vote their conscience. That work has to be done by Senator Thune, and he and many of these senators have been back here trying to get this done for weeks and weeks and weeks. That's where the work is right now. It's not like we're not working, basically.
So one last note. I think I saw in a news report that you are not taking your paycheck right now. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I'm not trying to be make this a headline or anything. Just different people have different circumstances. My team's not getting paid. I'm not going to get paid. It's weird that members of Congress are the ones negotiating and having all the fights, and it's up to us whether we open the government or not, and we're the only ones that actually continue on with a paycheck as per statute, but you can submit a request to have it withheld just like your team. And I got 31,000 federal workers, particularly in my district. My district's a heavy federal workforce district, and in solidarity, it's the least I can do.
Thank you so much. That was Representative Blake Moore joining us on Inside Sources today, talking about the shutdown. And that's it for Inside Sources. I'm Holly Richardson. I'll see you back here tomorrow. Straight ahead, Maria Chaleos has more on the push from some of Utah's Democratic lawmakers to tap into the state's rainy day fund to support families who rely on SNAP benefits during this shutdown. Stay right here on KSL News Radio.
Utah's Democratic lawmakers want to use state funds to help families relying on food stamps during the government shutdown. They are even calling for a special session